got disconnected for some reason and is now reconnecting.
Sierra 1, fall in.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah,
Do we have
raise
earplugs? No, we do not have earplugs by default.
No, yeah. Don't
Yeah,
worry,
two
yeah,
on
don't
me.
worry.
Why
I've got
not?
stuff in here. Just stay away from the boxes right now. I'll get them sorted.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Line up in front of me in a
like
this
a
sort
skew
of way
line,
order.
please. Wait.
I'd like to just
Error.
don't rush off to them just at the start because you might want to listen to something I have to say as it might be important for the mission or stuff in the future. Oh shit, that was very quick. Okay, Hawk, could you get your guys just to line up in front of me just so everyone's lined up on me?
Behind me in a line.
Yeah, what I'll do, I think this is everyone take a step forward, Hawk. Just on yourself against Zero.
Sean, over here.
Zuko's your platoon leader, so what I will do is, who's that over there? I think Chance in his special. He's in his special place right now.
Hunt.
So that's gonna be here. What I will do then is, Isaac, can you jump in here and join?
User joined your channel.
Thingy squad. No, it's not Isaac, and yeah, I'm joining also. So
User joined your
there we go.
channel.
We'll equal the squads out for now. Right, platoon, prepare Neil.
They told me to. They said there was no RTO.
Platoon Tigany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happened to the land.
Okay, you know Madrona is taking my RTO spot, right? Since Colin can't.
No, I didn't. I saved from the
User joined your channel.
It was just Isaac. What?
Alright.
Yeah. Isaac, stay where you are. It's fine. Oscar, stay where you are as well.
Rick,
Channel,
get your head out of my
once
ass,
Chance
please.
up, Chant will come up and join through there.
Thank you.
Hang on, give me a second.
It's so
Are you
hard.
good? Second, firing.
Lean to
I
your
can
left,
steal him and bring
that's
him
your
over to
left.
you.
Lean to your
Oh,
left,
roller coaster,
that's your
roller
left.
I'll
Lean
heal
to
you once
your
you're,
left, lean to your right,
you're over.
that's your right. Lean to your right, you're gonna die.
Children. I brought Chant the only way a non-commissioned officer knows how to by excruciating violence.
Lean to your right.
Chant.
You give him a ping on Steam because I saw him boot another game.
Okay, you're sorry. Actually, God. Alright, but wait, yeah. Chant's just going to be listening in. Okay.
And he got disconnected.
Okay. He can still listen in if he wants to. He wasn't. A lot of things he knows, so he was just originally going to listen in. That's fine. So figure terms. It's not too bad of a platoon organisation. In fact, Quill, if you want to just jump in to behind Figure and join Hawk's squad, and then we can equal them out.
Already in my squad.
Yeah, that's fine then. That's literally everyone. Okay.
Colin is here now as a marksman. Wonderful. I've got my marksman back.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, platoon face right. Today, I'm going to put my gun in safety before I kill somebody by mistake. So, please stop moving, thank you.
Guns on safe
here.
and lowered, please.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to teach you is second year of the mission, lower your gun, press control, and I call it the till key, but I believe it's the button left to 1. Button that is left to your number 1 key. If you hold control and press that, you'll notice at the top right it comes, your weapon is now on safe. Put on safety. Please do that and stand up once you've done that and your weapon's on safe.
Just got this instinctive reaction to people crying out, "Oh fuck," which is run.
Yeah, no, trust me, I am the same.
It's a pretty safe reaction.
Okay, so... Okay, so control, and in I call it the till key, but it is the button next to the number 1 on your keyboard. If you hold down and press it,
Still the key.
okay. Console key. That's fine.
It's almost certainly your back tick, but yeah.
Yeah, the back tick button. Mako, you got it?
Good.
Find out in a second. Apparently it's called the grave key as well, Chance says, so I mean, I don't know. I call it...
Grave.
Yeah, the grave. That's fine. Okay, so now to figure out if it worked, everyone point your guns forward.
Christ.
God.
Press G to salute.
And fire. Okay, that's fine. I'm actually
I'm fucking nervous being in front.
well, you'd learn from that. That's the idea. Okay, so lower your weapons, please.
Donkey,
Yes.
Donkey. Next
Yep.
time you want to do this trust exercise,
You're
do you want to
behind
stand
me.
in front of all the guns instead of my side, please?
Everyone aim at platoon
Tip
commander.
towel. Okay, so taking me again. So basically, what we're going to run over today
Team nailed.
is again, because I'm British, I'm going to be using British section battle drills. We're going to be running through some basic section battle drills, assault positions, how to secure something, what to do afterwards. So basic tactics, fire controls, rated fire, radio communication, basic infantry things, and from there we'll do a very quick assault position, hold a position thing, and then if anyone's still interested, we can host the second annual Altus TFF Grand Prix in the sports cars, which is nothing short of fun. So first of all, we about half a year ago ran a second training mission. If you were not there on that second training mission, can you just stand up for me, just so I know who I'm being with? If you were not there, that's when we were wearing American uniforms. We got hit by a car, and then we had the Grand Prix with all the sports cars. So
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't there for that.
I don't remember, so I'm just going to stand.
I don't remember this either. So.
Remember that? Yeah, if you don't remember anything.
You definitely remember.
Okay, so
The
we've
first
got a
training
new.
mission I was on
That's
was
fine.
when we were
Okay,
in
take it
Vietnam,
again,
we did
please.
Team lead.
That's fine. So we basically got a lot of new guys. So, a lot of the things we're going to talk about, especially with platoons, the sort of squad level things like formations, teamwork, basic communication. A lot of these things apply on each level you go up. So a team. A lot of the mechanics that operate inside a team will also apply to the squad as a whole, and then likewise the squad as a whole operates same way with platoon. So the way I like to think of it is 2 teams make a squad, 2 squads make a platoon, and to the platoon-sized element, you can imagine your 2 squads as 2 fire teams. So a lot of the things that apply to a fire team can also be applied to a squad as a whole, in the sense of tactical sense of things, positioning, firing doctrines, formations, etc. etc. So,
Really? Holy shit.
Shit, I didn't know that.
yeah, okay, so, Anne, could you take a knee for a second? Okay, so, can I get Hog and Colin to stand up, please?
Again.
Colin,
Do that without
Hawk.
the accent.
Can I get Hawk and Colin to stand up, please?
That's not what you said the
Yes,
first time.
Okay, sorry.
Make the Queen's
So-
English man.
2 guys is a battle buddy team. 2 battle buddy teams makes a fire team, so Wolf and Anna can stand up. These guys will, your battle buddy team, act in pairs normally when you're clearing buildings, moving through an urban area, when you are near certain people, you want to act as a a battle buddy team element. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things as a battle buddy team, but what you can do is cover one another's back, keep an eye on things. Can I get the other, can I get Rit, Rakan, Asan, Isaac and Tim to stand up, please? 2 battle buddy teams make a fire team, 2 fire teams make a squad, with Hawk being the squad leader. You can do a lot more with this. You can split it down the middle, do bounding fire team movements. You can actively cover a larger range of things, perform a larger range of operations. Obviously, once at that point you're going further up, that's when you approach the platoon level thing. And like I said, a lot of this is always adding up, is very even, and a lot of things are based around these elements, these fire teams, these squads, these platoon elements. So, I'm not sure if that's making sense, but basically everything levels up on one another, and it's always these small, concise units that make up an element. And these are the reason for 2,000 years ago the Romans did it. The reason we do it is because a fire team is flexible, a battle buddy team is flexible, a squad is flexible, and a platoon size thing. You are having the most amount of control, the least amount of hassle, whilst allowing you yourself as a squad leader, a platoon leader, or a regimental commander to be active and mobile with them. You can accomplish a range of things. Does that make sense, or does that make sense? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Is there any?
Which of us has
Yeah.
reach and which of us has flexibility?
That's fine. I know I have a tendency to ramble on about things. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if we just follow over here for a second, we'll just go over a few basic formations. We'll just get that out of the way. Come on.
He's going over a few.
Admittedly, I should have maybe moved them a bit closer, but you know, potato potato. So,
Asthma.
yeah, I'm sorry. So,
Also, just a quick question: the little symbols that everyone seems to have on
symbols?
TeamSpeak. Is that because of my format, or is it something else?
I don't think there's anything symbols.
Everyone has like "I'm a muted" symbol.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
Colin,
I
that's because,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
because we're in hardcore
Is that a
mode
new-
and you can't listen to
Well,
dead
yeah.
people.
What I should explain, is
No,
we're
that's
using.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. So basically means that I can't exactly remember exactly what it does.
How does Rit have an incorrect signature
Just
for?
for the
Arma?
next week.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to approach is the staggered column. This is my favourite formation because it looks nice. Okay, it's fine. I heard something else.
Did what the column?
So this one right here, staggered column, my favourite formation. I like how it looks, I like how it operates. It's very multi-use. For the most part, it's for controlling a road. It's for controlling an area you're moving through. Staggered column also prevents a grenade from doing maximum damage in a tight or compact area. It also means that both sides can proactively cover one another, and so that's why it's very effective when you are moving through an urban area, because it allows you to actively cover the left side, and likewise the left side can cover the right side. Also means that when you're in a single column, whilst you are hiding you are hiding your formation more, you're making it a very narrow from filed formation. It's making it harder to be spotted by the enemy. This is much more better for actively controlling an area whilst still moving in that marching element, if that makes sense. If you can add yeah, sure.
Ow.
I mean, I've got this.
Formation created by 3 wedges.
Zuka, I've actually
Sorry.
got this
Yes,
anyway,
sorry.
so I don't really need you. Yeah.
I was gonna say, dude, let me like get TeamSpeak back to default. Jesus.
Yeah, trust me. I've got
We
it.
have a sphere
So-
formation.
We do have a 360 perimeter formation. I didn't actually I haven't actually got that one set up, but I'll obviously do it here.
Form a sphere.
It's a 360. That's what we call
Well,
it.
if you eat
On
enough,
all
you
around.
can always
Is
form
it-
a sphere.
This isn't football. You can't just say, right, everyone go to a 4-4-2 formation or something when we're attacking.
4424.
No, I mean,
How about
IR
the
formation.
I know.
Don't
I
eat
I
gold.
call it the all of it. Anyway, so
Turtle formation.
studo formate. Form testudo. The worst thing is, I could give you that order in Latin. Testudo facite.
The problem is
Anyway.
we won't be able to do it.
So, do you want me to drill you in Latin one day? No, I'm joking. Okay, Philip. No, I wouldn't want to do that to you. Anyway, getting distracted. So staggered lines allows maximum control of the street and also minimises casualties and potential risks from an ID, grenade, RPG from a top gunner, angry civilian Vietnamese Tin Jong Hao throwing a vest at you. On top of that, it also gives you a perimeter around a vehicle if you've got vehicles down the centre of a road. Any questions on that?
Negative.
Um,
I have one question that
Can we call it a
is
file
relevant,
instead
but
of a
is my
column?
voice sensitivity okay?
Staggered file, yeah, it's got a staggered file.
Sounds okay.
I'm sorry, that's the Mountain Blade Napoleonic
TeamSpeak's
era
by default, so-
speaking out from me. A lot of my
Kinda,
stuff
yeah.
comes from Mountain Blade.
It's less
The only
annoying than
problem-
usual,
the only
so
problem I
it's
have-
better than you've been.
The problem I have with column is that there's someone literally called
Or
column.
column, yeah.
Can we use file?
Oh,
instead
file,
of
file,
type
file.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from now on, call it
Less
file.
confusing
If I
than
say it wrong, please
Because
correct me.
I'm okay with it.
Anyway, so any other questions apart from that? I haven't
Drunk
changed the
all
list
the
and something.
time.
Hang on.
Good
Gonzalo,
call.
break.
Come on. Anybody?
Break. Gonzalo, did you say something?
I don't know. Did I?
You went as if you were going to say something?
I think he's just going,
Maybe.
Okay, it's fine, let's
I
move
don't
on.
know. I'm just used to saying column. That's all.
That's fine. That's
I
hilarious.
can train myself to
Can
save
you,
file though.
you get someone to ask Rick to re-verify his armor because he's had a file corruption and got kicked off, basically.
Zuka, could you do that since you know most of this? Okay, so these two guys here, this is the optimal spacing. It is a vehicle's width. That allows the maximum spread of a unit, again, minimizing potential casualties from a grenade or a ambush or an ID or anything like that. But it also means that for the most part, one or two guys are always going to be in range of things. This is something I'm going to repeat a long time. You'll see it in modern militaries. You see it. We used to do it. Because we've had a lot of new guys, we won't really do it too much. What should really be happening whenever we do orders, whenever we give out orders, it will be, for example, section prepare to move. When I say that, you should always hear another guy down the line saying that, repeating that order, so that the guys at the back are able to hear. And you also do a prepare to do something. You don't just go, okay, well, let's move. We're moving out now. Prepare to move, prepare to engage, prepare to fire. It gives people time to hear the order. It means the guys down the back can hear the order. It means everyone is aware that we are preparing to do something. And so it stops a juttering of the line, or it stops a few people at the back maybe not hearing the order and being a bit confused. Overall, just keeps the organisation of the squad. So this is the spacing of two sort of guys, but bringing it up to a squad level, a platoon element. This is the sort of space you always want to have whenever you're on the move. I know in circumstances it might not always be applicable or might not always be able to happen, whether it's lag or the environment.
User was moved out of your channel.
Oh, hi.
Ew.
Yeah, I just did it.
Hey, guys, do you know which mods are on? Or are we using it? I don't think so. Oh yeah, Donkel. Yep.
I have donkles.
Who doesn't?
Right. Okay.
Can you throw me as well? Because I don't
I'll
know the
hop down.
password.
User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel. Switched.
Server admin, not
No, this So, I mean, I don't think I can explain that anymore.
We'll see how it goes.
Is there any questions about forming a line?
A line is usually more of a witch in practice.
No, I think we might need a repeat.
The line's supposed to be straight.
We might need an example.
What if there's a tree in the way?
So yeah, if there is, it's never going to look perfectly straight like this. Whenever you form a battle line, whether you are in the open or in hardcover, you want to try to drift towards things that stop bullets, whether that's a wall, a rock, a tree, or a quill, for example. Yeah, it's never going to look perfectly straight like that, but normally it's the element. The whole idea behind it is you have the element forming presenting itself, facing towards the enemy with the most amount of rifles, which comes into the idea. Yeah, which it comes into covering sustained fire and overwhelming the enemy with fire when you prepare to do what is called team bounding or platoon-sized bounding, which we will get onto in a minute. Any questions on forming a line? I don't think there should be.
Does a can count as a battle?
If you have the animations, I would suggest yes, but don't expect the enemy to stop shooting.
I just want to say that the whole like
I can at least make a comment.
The whole gravitation to cover thing, you should
When
do
you
unless
have your line set up naturally in Arma, they tend to form up into a wedge, which is a good thing usually when you're actually advancing. Usually because you naturally bias towards whoever in the center moving first, and then everybody moving with them. Like, don't freak out and try to fix that.
I should add. This is normally formed in a stationary position, or like I said, if you're in a file and you've suddenly taken contact, you form. If you're on the move, and I believe actually it's on the next one. If you follow me. No, okay. This is a file.
Lawyer's leader isn't gonna come up and smack you in the face.
I heard something. I heard something. I heard something.
Heard nothing.
Hey, we now see you through things.
Who is he?
Whilst we're here,
Right,
this is a
everyone,
good time
quick
to discuss
ace
things.
medical tutorial. If you just follow my directions, all you have to do is stitch your leg up.
Okay.
Oh my god, yeah.
The problem is we're on basic, so we can't put tourniquets on.
You just-
Most people have like
Yeah, don't worry, I've got it.
peripheral wounds.
I just Zeus heal is
On
just
that
way
note,
too
I
many
would
of us.
like. This brings me on to a point that I should really address. I didn't think I would need to address it. If you think the G key is not good for you as a person, please unbind it for the sake of everyone else.
Okay, so can I actually just
No, just to add to that though, if you're using grenades and you unbound the G key, you can still use grenades by pressing Shift G using S,
Yeah.
which gives you the little line. And
You accidentally grenade my section. At worst, you will get, or at best, you will get spoken to at the end of the mission. At worst, I will shoot you on the spot.
Okay.
There's something.
Oh no, you can do a lot worse as an admin now, guys.
Throw the grenade off for a second. Just
Really
over.
can't.
What's up with the smoke?
I'm vaping.
West.
Fucking around with grenades. Seriously. Stop.
Anyway,
Throw it away. Get rid of it. Now.
just float west. Just float to the southwest.
Oh yeah, that's my audio settings okay before shit starts firing.
Okay, so don't worry about it. It was just an accident. Okay, so this is a file.
Oh my grenade.
Any questions?
No.
Normally, you use a file when you're moving across terrain. You want to hide the overall. Hello. Yes. But yeah, normally you want to have a file when you are moving through terrain, rough terrain. Basically, you are moving towards an object or a firing position. If you want to hide the element as a whole, you can use a file to move through terrain and hide a larger size of your element before moving into a battle lane. Different countries have it set up differently. If I recall, the British tend to have a machine gun up front, a squad leader somewhere in the first quarter of the line, one of the team leaders, or a team leader in the middle, and the rest up back. Genuinely, I'm not going to drill you on that because that's something that it's going to vary because we are not a country unit. We're not based on a actual unit. So,
Preference will be based on what squad lead you have.
I
They'll
would
typically
suggest
give you the order.
What I will say though is, as you can see, the spacing, even with Ace yelling, that's 4 guys. If you can imagine 8 to 9 guys, you can imagine that the guys at front won't be able to hear the guys at the back and vice versa. And that is why it is critical to have somebody in the middle and somebody maybe at the rear, always repeating an order that is made by the team leader. So if the team leader up front says squad prepare to hold, I should, as a squad leader, I should expect to hear a second or two down the line, squad prepare to hold.
But additionally, by my standards, that spacing is unacceptable and is too close. Like, I'd expect another 3 feet between each of them.
Well,
I space people out a lot here. Yeah. But I space out more because relaying commands forward, believe me.
Whatever anyone else's opinions is, it. So, for example, what's Colin said, that's unacceptable. I don't give a shit. That is what I'm telling you. No, that's fine. What I'm telling, whatever the case is, once you're in game, you'll find that sort of these things will adjust. But I'm telling you right now, that is the acceptable standard that I would like to see in one of my squads. As Zuka has actually very conveniently, and thank you for doing that, pointed out, the grenade went off very close range. Only the front guy was injured. The guys at the back are still operational, but they're still in an area where they can hear commands. They can pass them down the line. If you have a short-range radio, we won't always have them, but if you do have short-range radios, that makes life a lot easier. But obviously, as I'm just saying before, if an order is given out and you are maybe in the middle of the line, please take the initiative. That's the important thing. Take initiative and just call out the order. Just make sure that everyone at the back is going to hear it. That stops the squad leader from getting frustrated when something takes a little bit longer, and it also means things happen quicker, and it makes it easier for everyone in the long run. Any questions about that? Yeah, that's fine. Let's move on to this one. This is the herringbone. Whenever a squad stops, this is the first thing you should do. You should always take a knee, and you should always present yourself in an area where you can have overwatch of an area. So a 4-man squad here is the fire team. The lead guy faces forward. The guy behind him faces to one direction. I'm going to say one direction. I'm not going to say right, because the guys behind him, whatever side the guy behind the lead faces, whether he faces left or right, from there on out, all the guys behind him should adapt to whatever direction he's facing, and it should be odds and evens. So left, right, left, right, left, right. Your guy, of course, then faces room. So what you're doing is you're giving yourself an all-round security while still minimising the area you have around you. You're not spreading out. You're not distancing yourself. So you're not creating a bigger what's the word? Presence. That's the word. You're not creating yourself a bigger presence, but you're still maximising your viewing of the area around you. Is there any questions about that? You should always be in your
Yes.
whenever. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
If you are engaged while you are doing the herringbone, everybody faces toward the threat, obviously. How many people do you need facing behind you in that situation?
The guys, if you get engaged and you're looking in every direction, you should keep monitoring your direction until the team leader tells you to otherwise.
So you should, once you take
maybe
fire.
check periodically every now and then to make sure the people you're facing away from haven't been shot, but yeah.
Normally, if you are formed into a battle line and you're engaging the enemy, it's normally the role or the job to the guy to the farthest to the left and farthest to the right to be keeping an eye out on the left and right, and that's normally to avoid people flanking. If you've been assaulted from the rear, that's... I mean, I don't want to say that's something that shouldn't happen. It does happen, of course. Normally what you would find is, in real life, the platoon element would be somewhere behind you, so they would probably be able to observe something like that, and they would be able to react. Going on to a grander scheme of things, if you have 2 or 3 squads in the same operation, you tend to find that it is the squad to the farthest left that is watching the left-hand side of the battle and the right-hand side. For the most part, if you're in a formation like this, if it's a 9-man squad, it's the job of the lead guy and the rear guy. If you take contact from the right, for example, and these guys all turn to the right to engage the enemy here, it would be the job of this guy in front of us and the guy at the back just to watch to the far left and far right to watch for to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out, not oot. Keep an eye out for that's a Scottish term. Keeping an eye out for anyone attempting to flank the element. Does that answer the question?
Donkey should let the Scottish out.
Okay,
if you are...
Hello, yes.
Can I?
Oh, hello, yes. One of you.
Can I just
On a
emphasise that
practical level,
Madonna.
generally lead elements are going to be doing a decent amount of looking at people and looking down and up the line. Like, if you're engaged in somebody, usually I would leave it on the squad or the team leaders. At least have better understanding of where the units are and therefore their flanks, because you know they have to focus on their units.
Moving it, by the way.
Madonna, can you not hear me? Because
Officially,
you
but if
keep
you're
talking
in a
over me.
consistent engagement,
No.
Okay, right, well, I'll explain
look
things.
behind your people sometimes.
Madonna, can you hear Quill?
Oh.
Because Quill's been talking there.
Madonna just
I got a
swelled
new
through
idea.
multiple times.
You're going to
I don't think
talk,
so.
press Control
Jonah,
and 8
can
on
you
your
hear me?
numpad. You can do this.
Drona, can you hear me?
Yeah, raise your hand.
You can hear me though, Madrona. Colin.
Can you hear Colin? I can hear you, Colin. I can hear both of you.
Break, break.
Yeah, so you're just on whispering.
I'm not whispering, I'm yelling.
That's fine. So break. Yeah, as Madrona said, I'm just going to... a general basic rule of thumb for anyone, just keep watching, keeping an eye out on things. If everyone's keeping aware of the situation, it's going to be a lot easier to spot an incoming threat. But for the most part, it should be the guys on the far left and the far right that are watching those elements. Quill, what were you going to say? Because you're going to add something to that as well.
I was going to say, if you've been specifically told that you need to 360 coverage and your squad gets shot at, do not immediately turn and look at what's shooting, because inevitably the guy who is now sneaking up on you will shoot you in the back.
But what if the guy in the front
bear
shoots you in the back?
Especially if donkeys, there's seen donkeys and arsehole and constantly force units to flank us. So like, he constantly keeps on our toes like that.
No.
So what
Yeah,
you should
Will
do...
doesn't even have a name over him for me.
in reverse with that.
So if you've been told maintain 360. Oh, for fuck's sake, Madrona.
Madrona, shut up.
Madrona, can you not hear Quill?
Shut up.
Madrona, can you not hear Quill?
At all.
Establish this.
Right.
Keep talking over Quill constantly.
She can't hear him, so.
I mean, I know, but like.
User left your channel.
It's okay, we don't
User
need
joined your
it.
channel.
If Quill, we can just say Madrona shush for a second. Or anyone. Anyway, continue.
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
Okay. Can people hear me?
I can.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is if you've been told to do a 360-degree perimeter, do not be scrubs and immediately lose focus on what you've been told to do just because someone else is being shot at. If the team leader then says, okay, we need to engage over that direction, go for it. But be careful that you're not compromising security just because you're getting distracted by random gunfire, basically.
What if you are the one being targeted?
Get behind something and duck.
Yeah.
Lying down.
In the thick of it, if you're getting shot at, report just in case you don't get shot. Just in case you get shot halfway through the report, literally just say enemy firing and then give them a bearing, even if it's a rough one. But just get the bearing out as quickly as possible, because if you're halfway through giving the enemy's position and you go down, everyone around you will now be like, right, where the
Worst
fuck's
case,
that?
Column yells at you for not finishing a sentence.
Well,
Worst
any
case,
other question?
you get shot and nobody hears you.
Right, sorry, carry on. I've probably beaten that enough into people.
That's fine. So, any other questions about just general herringboning?
Herringboning is good.
The important roles, say like the medic and all that stuff, where would they be situated?
Normally in the middle, along with the marksman and the squad leader, or the RTO. Normally the RTO, if there is one, is closer to the squad leader. The squad leader tends to, in most armies, either be at the front line along with the machine gunner, or in the middle. It varies from country to country, and also keep in mind that certain countries have different numbers of people or certain types of weapons in their squad. So a US Army squad is slightly different from the Marine squad, whilst a British section is only 8 men, and it only has a single machine gun, whilst I believe a US squad has 2.
Basically, it's for all formations. That's, it's a similar.
A little bit of normally your medic is in the middle of the line. Team leaders go where they feel comfortable. They should really be designating their team leaders to go where they're not, just so orders can be carried down the line. RTO should normally be near the squad leader. And 2 thoughts of thinking. The machine guns, sometimes the machine gun's in the middle, sometimes it's at the back. The British have it at the front, so that if they take contact from the front, the machine gun immediately lays down a base of fire. But obviously, the counter argument, the counter argument to that though is you immediately present one of your key elements of your unit to the enemy. Sometimes some squads, I believe, have marksmen leading the line, which does make sense as well. But sometimes the marksman's near the squad leader, because then the squad leader can direct accurate fire from the marksman. So so there's so many different ways that it's done country by country. I don't want to give you a definite answer, if that makes sense. Someone just died there. I was like, oh. Alright. Okay, going on with what Madrona said, normally if you break from a line and you're approaching a battle area, you tend to just inherently form a echelon. As it was mentioned already, wedge or echelon, or a delta, I believe it's been called. It is a good formation to move up towards a position if you're going to move into the battle line, and more importantly, the guys at the leading edges have a flanking element to observe the left and right of the formation. So it's good for advancing towards a position, and it's also good for watching the left and right of you as you advance towards that element. Any questions on that?
Is there any time that a inverted wedge is at all useful?
No, I don't think. I've never heard of it being used.
Only time I've ever used an inverted wedge, or a V as I call it, is literally when I don't want to get shot at and I want the expendables to go in first. So if your team lead gives that order, it's because the people on the ends, the team lead doesn't give a shit about.
It's useful if you're like Golian horse archery.
What if you're trying to surround somebody?
Drink.
Golian horse archery.
break. No, sorry, can you repeat that again? Again, no, you, Zuka. Yeah, go ahead, because people were talking over you. Actual button. Cool.
You want to lure people into a kill zone, basically.
Just to interject as well, if you have a machine gun nest or something, an inverted wedge is really good for that as well, because essentially you're putting the furthest forward on two edges, so the machine gun can't hit both. It can hit one, but it can't hit both. It will take casualties, but the machine gun nest will go down.
And inverted wedge is more of a strategic formation than a tactical.
So that is
formation.
Oh, sorry, that's fine.
Go.
Yeah, quickly.
Make sure you're doing it outside.
Zuka. Go on side chat. Side chat.
No one can see it.
We can see it.
This is another thing that has to be drilled into people's heads.
If you want to talk to the entire group, the entire unit, even use side. If you want to talk to your group only, use group. It's basically like the
False.
Waves.
3 waves of expendables.
the most expendable.
With Kyrnz at the back.
Of course.
Okay, so any questions on echelons? I don't believe there was. Was there? No. Okay, last but not least, you have your 360 all-round perimeter, sphere, orbus, whatever you want to call it. Tends to be done normally if you're in a smaller element and you are behind enemy lines or you have pushed through an enemy line. If you're in a enclosed tight area, if you're in a wooded area, you need to stop and take a 360 perimeter. It's also done if you're landing out of a helicopter, 360 perimeter, and also if you're securing an LZ or an area such as fortifications or a position in a town, or so yeah, basically if you're securing anything, if you're holding a position and you are at risk of being attacked from all sides, it's normally when you form that up. It's called a
Okay, let's stop butchering a language,
Okay.
please.
Why? The magic to the German language.
So, yeah, it tends to be done. Yes, I've covered that. Any
When in
questions
doubt,
on
take a perimeter.
basically? Yeah. Any questions about that? No. Okay.
How's it pronounced?
Fuck you. That's how it's pronounced. Okay. So.
I do have 1 or 2 comments on actual echelon formations, if that helps at all.
Sure, go nuts.
So what we've got here is a V formation. An echelon is basically one half of a V, so everyone's in a diagonal line. So it'll either be echelon left or echelon right.
That's my fault. Sorry, apologies.
That's fine. Basically, if you know you're going to be shot at from one side or the other, then you form an echelon so that you you have the line of battle facing the direction that you're anticipating fire. Usually you use it with tanks. I don't very often see it with people.
Before we go on, Ace error sitting thing. I don't know if you have had that before. The Ace.
The advanced.
I've never had it.
What?
The error is
These
the
people
Ace sitting
using their
error.
freaking loading and suggested mods like dirt.
Yeah.
Animations.
That sounds like what Draggy had when he tried loading in the suggested for the.
I've let him know to make sure.
Shouldn't be loading the suggested mods at all.
And it kicks me off every time.
That's fine. Can I get the 2 squads to form up again, and we'll go over some squad bounding and Yeah, that's. Well, actually, I'll need to cover one more thing and then we'll go. But just keep forming your line, please. Form 2 squads on there.
I'm still on.
Alright, line up behind
one
Phil, I
fall
guess.
in.
Line up behind me. Wait,
In front
what?
of me, facing me, please.
How are we falling in on?
Don't know. You want us to? Oh, in front of you,
Face. Yeah, facing me. Why not?
In front of me, facing me.
Yeah.
For simplicity, I want red in the front, going back.
Hulk, aren't you leader?
I don't even know.
Right, this way.
between the two. There we go.
And Kirk, you hold the formation.
Let's get rid of these. Oh, and thought.
Back up, guys. Back up. Back up.
Yeah, that's fine.
The two that I have in this unit are bad.
Here.
We'll get on that in a moment.
I'll stand here so everyone can hear me. Oh. So I'm going to try and rush through this bit just so we can do a little bit more active stuff. Whenever we start a mission, to make it quick and effective for all the squad leaders and everything else, we just run through a process in your head. Don't run to the boxes. Don't run off. Find your squad leaders, find your team leaders. From there, it's going to be easier. It's going to make your team leaders and your squad leaders' lives a lot easier when it comes to getting... Hello, yes?
We're still doing the don't run to the boxes even though we're having people join the server like 10 minutes, 20 minutes before we actually start.
Yes. Because I'd like everyone around me when I discuss things, because there might be certain things that are integral to the mission, which means that squad leaders can then dictate maybe special weapons that need to go off to their squad. It stops people rushing back to the boxes a few more times, if that makes sense. If
Donkey starts talking, you better be listening.
If you can all, because you can all then grab off your shit at that bit moment. You know everything you need to grab. It should make a lot of process a lot simpler. Certain times you won't even need to go to the boxes because you'll have all your stuff on you, but it is something to be aware.
What about
whenever I don't tend to let you accessorize, but if I do, you'll know about it.
You probably should.
So, for the most part, whenever you're starting an operation, whenever you're talking about objectives, missions, briefings, if there's equipment to get, normally what you want to do is what the British, they call it the paw perso. It's an anagram for a bunch of different things. Some of them aren't applicable, some of them are still kind of applicable in the group environment, especially if you're starting off. So the first thing you do is, normally it is protection, so sentries and securities. It's not really something that's applicable here. Normally what that means is maybe who's leading information, who's at the rear, etc, etc. Ammo, make sure you've all got enough ammo, make sure your ammo bearers are carrying the right ammo for your machine gunners, make sure AT has extra ammo, make sure you have people that are carrying extra ammo. Make sure that you have enough ammo, but at the same time, squad leaders and platoon leaders should look at an engagement and figure out, do we need that much ammo? So it is... Yeah, no worries, man.
Too much ammo can be a thing as well,
So
I found out when I had 40 kilograms of ammo
Yeah.
once.
So, for example, if you're expecting a longer sustained engagement, squad leaders and platoon leaders should decide maybe to carry some extra ammo. If not, then not. So, but ammo, for example, is a good one. Now, weapons cleaned and serviceable. That's okay.
I'll be right back.
Spread the way.
Yeah. Honesty, I tend to run with seven on me, one in the chamber, one in the magazine.
Right.
So
what would you suggest the optimal weight per soldier be?
Pounds.
Depends on what you are
Yep.
and you need.
Yes.
If you're a medic, I found if you do not cram yourself with every single spare ounce of crap you can take, you're going to need it at some point.
Yeah.
I would never go above 25 kilograms for any regular load.
It's generally 25 to 30.
Yeah. So weapons cleaned and serviceable. We can't really do that, but what I would say is make sure you have the right equipment. Make sure your weapons are all make sure your weapons are on safety, especially if you're starting in like that. I think we've only ever once had that. Yeah, I remember that.
I've done it once.
My machine gun isn't doing anything. What's your rounds? It's this thing. That's because you're firing blanks at the enemy.
Done that myself.
That's it. Now, equipment, because the next one would be P, which would be personal camouflage. We can't really do that. It's basically me applying facial camouflage to you if necessary, or applying brush or shrubbery to your helmets. We can't do that. So, equipment, make sure that all the equipment on you, if you don't have... Okay, Maku, 2 towers as well. I'll keep that in mind. If you don't have the equipment on you, that is your job to make sure you have some of the key equipment for you that is necessary, so short ranges, earplugs, things like that, entrenchment tools. The next one is our radios, so make sure the squad leaders and teams, make sure the squad leaders have their squad set to a frequency, make sure that if they have a long range,
Okay,
set
may I
to
make
the
a
other.
suggestion on that point? Whenever I'm in the Liberation server or something, I usually put down a map marker near wherever our usual base is. It says radio channel 40 or whatever. I
we
recommend
have
doing
that. We have that. We've done that for quite a while now.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't worry. Yeah.
We always do that. Yeah.
Yep. So, but what it means is make sure the radio that make sure that is put up. Make sure that the squads are all in the radio channels. So each squad, so Sierra 1 would be on, let's say, radio channel 60. Sierra 2 is on 62, but the long range radio channel is 40, so that Sierra 1 and Sierra 2 can communicate to each other, but the individual squads can communicate inside themselves without cluttering up the radio channels. Then specialist equipment, that is extra things that we might need. AT, bolt cutters, ladders if you want to. We can have ace breaching ladders, it is a thing. Mines, satchel charges, things like that. So if there's a certain objective in mind, make sure the platoon leader and squad leaders issue out those orders to designate someone to carry those specialist equipment. I would argue that maybe entrenchment tools count as that, but I also want to say that's probably a basic equipment that you should try and carry whenever you can. And last but not least, orders. Make sure that the platoon leader has issued its orders to the squad leaders. Make sure the squad leaders issued out to the team leaders, and most importantly, make sure that everyone is aware of the general idea of the plan and what we're going to be going on. That is a basic preparation that should be done at the start of every mission. At that point, you then go off into groups, grab your equipment, come back. If you can do that and you can nail that down every time, that's going to make things a lot swifter, and it's going to knock down our briefings from whatever time it is, hopefully shorter and shorter. The more we do it, the more we practice
45 minutes.
So it is actually about half an hour, then give or take 15 minutes for a briefing. But if the more we do it like that, the more we follow the step-by-step process, the quicker we get it down, and the quicker we nail it, and it's easier it's going to be for everyone, if that makes sense. So
yes.
I'm just looking. I'm going to be honest. I've written a lot of this down, so I'm alt tapping a lot of the time. So, any other questions on that? No. Okay. Bounding. We probably all know what it is. I'm hoping.
Does anyone here not know what bounding is?
You don't know what bounding is? Take a knee.
I did have someone ask me if you did.
You're like the Easter Bunny.
That's fine. If you don't know what bounding is, take a knee.
I think I know what it is, I just don't know the name of it.
Okay. Actually, that's fine. Well, it's fine. Stand up again. Hawk, you're now... I'm going to designate you Sierra 1, because why not? Sierra 1 fixed, right?
I realise I know what it is.
Okay.
I knew it was something else.
Now, let's see. Who is in your
Some
squad?
practice.
So, Hawk, I'm going to get you to do this. I want you to designate your teams... Charlie and Alpha, sorry, Alpha and Bravo, and then I want you to do a bounding up to that blue building. Not towards it, but up to that level.
Okay, so what have I got?
I'm your team lead.
I'm a team lead.
Machine gunner.
I am a team lead.
Me, Jonathan.
Okay, so Iron Watts has already got Colin and Jonathan, so can I add to that group Isaac?
Okay.
And Wolf be leading Faye, Quill and Hassan, and I'll be with Recount as green.
So Faye, Quill and Hassan are going blue.
Fang, you're heading Alpha because you're the assault lot, and Iron Watts is heading Bravo because you're heading the long range support group. Thanks.
Doesn't get down past counter 2. Take a knee.
Wait, Donkey, are we safeties off for this?
No, you are. Fuck it. Yeah, safety's off.
Safety's off. Keep your guns pointed downrange. If you shoot anybody who isn't an enemy, I'll shoot you.
Wonder who's AFK. And face right towards CR1.
So, this is what's called bounding. Basically, you can do it at platoon level, you can do it at squad level. What's going to happen is that the team with the machine gun is going to set into cover and set up a base of fire towards the area that they're moving, whilst another element of the squad begins to push up. Once they are in a position that is deemed secure and safe for them, they will then provide opposing covering fire for the other team whilst they move up and past. Vice versa, they'll repeat the process until they're in a comfortable position where whatever team is at the back will move up, link up with them into a battle line, and at that point they can move on to do whatever they want.
Be in front of the field of fire.
Stand to the side, yeah. Just stand to the side. But, yeah.
So, Hawk, if you want to do that now?
I must confess, I was doing something else for this. Is it the machine gun founder first or the assault technique? Okay, so. Okay, so, Iron, what is your group covering fire? So,
Zuka's firing, it kind of put everything off. Right, Hawk, pull your men back for a second. I'll go have a word.
Hawk, what team was I on?
Where's
Bravo is blue.
Yeah,
So
Zuka, don't do that again though. Because the guys weren't finished, you just kind of immediately started firing at them.
We move with behind. No, I can.
So just
Okay.
go back.
Hawk, do you mind if
Wolf,
I
can I get, like,
squad
you
leader
guys
for a
go
minute
behind
and
the
do
other
some
team a bit
demos
so
on
the
how you
others
voice
can-
command that kind of thing?
Well, I was not
Go behind
expecting.
them, go behind
Given
them.
this is my first time actually doing squad lead, I wasn't expecting to have to lead an example squad. So sure.
Okay. Right, back to the start. Back to start
Okay.
line.
Alright, back to start
Zulu,
team.
I'm going to take
Take my
place of
place
you
in
for
blue
now.
team.
What up?
Okay.
Right, can I have Oscar, Search, Gale, and correct form go
It's
colour red?
He's doing
Can I
something.
have
Donkey.
Majuna? What's up?
Okay. I would like to do a proper demo of that with my Royal Marine training.
I said gentlemen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, okay.
Because I was going to do it with Sierra 2 and make sure the other guys get something to do.
Good, but I'll attempt to demonstrate how we're.
Don't even know what's.
Go.
Thank you,
Right.
gentlemen.
So many
Congratulations, we managed to fuck up
Alright,
something
ready?
where we're not even under fire.
That's why we're doing training.
Okay, we'll have a go again in a minute.
You
Fresh mics and stuff.
wait to do it. Are you doing it then, Carl?
Well, I mean, if is Gazoo leaving his one or?
Okay, I'll do this with Gonzulio then. Right, yeah. So Kurik, Gale, Search, and Oscar, set you guys red. Can I have Majona, Day, Dwaggy, and Victor set yourself blue? Please tell me once you've done that. I will also join your squad so I can actually see. Okay. Could you show me your lower ground, please? No homo. Lean up. Look. Thank you. There we go. Okay, that's it.
He's having a good time.
Okay, what's your radio channel?
It's fine, Hawk, that's why we're doing it.
It's not set.
Okay, we're going to set your short range radio channels to 60, please. The other guys can do it as well, just don't talk on the channel.
Oh god, it's one of these radios.
Yeah.
One for long range.
Control P, yeah. So what's going to happen is I'm going to use blue and red for this one. So red, whenever I give an order, I'm going to say red, move up, blue, move up. What's going to happen is I'm going to have blue team set up a base of fire. Once blue team's in position, team, I want you to 60. I want red team to move up a few paces, go prone, get yourself into fire position. Once you're in position, I should have actually been a lot more clear on this, by the way. First time around, so don't blame yourself, Hawk. I wasn't actually that clear on it. Once red team's in position, they're going to then radio over the short range. Red set. At that point, blue's going to be given the order to get up.
You put my MG on red, Donkey.
I know your red, but MG's on blue.
Why are you having red move forward?
Cause blue's providing the base of fire.
Dunk?
Alright.
Oh, what's up?
When it comes to bounding, do the team leads usually radio back in and say, like, okay, red set or...
Yeah, that's it. Normally, squad leader stays with the team that's in position as a fire rate, because then he can use that to pull the machine gun onto certain key points of interest to suppress certain targets, if he wants to, that is. So once red team's in position, whoever the team leader is, I'm going to give them the responsibility to go red set. At that point, blue will then move up past them, get some distance. You go down your ground, set up some fire, put some fire down range. Blue set, red move, red move. We're going to do that all the way up to the blue building, where then I will give the order to form battle line, and then we'll have whatever team's at the rear to move up. Now, does that make sense?
To the blue building.
Yes, to the blue building. So if you want to get yourself prone, blue team, get yourself into position, and I'll give the order to go whenever.
Right, so yeah, one prepare to perform a bound. Red team, move when ready.
Prepare to move.
Okay. Blue team, you are going to put some rounds down range, start suppressing the enemy. All done.
Red set.
Move your feet, move your feet, move your feet, move your feet. Red's no suppressing it, red's no suppressing it, moving past it. Oh, I wish we had that. Moving fast.
Maybe it can work. Even work. Yeah, demand the union rep.
Blue set, red move.
The other thing is, ideally, you wouldn't be doing that, and also ideally,
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
You have to do it like this.
Red set. Blue, form out line.
Don't normally have the height advantage to actually
Ideally, we want 5,000 troops running at that tiny little house full of shelling and artillery.
Share 105. Ceasefire, ceasefire,
Hey,
ceasefire.
Toshi, next time you do this, tell people to fucking put in earplugs before you
Nobody
have
has
live ammunition.
earplugs. Nobody has earplugs.
Oh my god, my ears.
I was gonna say something, but I actually didn't know nobody had earplugs.
Should've got them.
That's my bad. How yeah.
Yeah,
that is your bad donkey. I'm gonna come and smack you.
Joined halfway in.
No, what's so annoying about the earplugs?
Nobody has earplugs. That's what's annoying about it.
No, there's a really annoying
I don't want to see
not too bad.
on the ground there. Oh,
The really annoying thing
Okay.
is that Donk said they're in the boxes, we'll get them in a minute, and they never fucking allowed us to go get them.
Yeah, Donkey, do we have earplugs anywhere?
We do. Let's go and get them, since we're going live fire now. Tell me, gentlemen, that is my fault. I wasn't actually going to have people
User
shoot.
left your channel.
Put a box with earplugs.
User joined
Dude.
your channel.
Dude.
Like when
Contact
you've
my
made a
lawyer.
briefing zone, you might want to make everybody spawn with a box.
Where's your fucking red line?
We
User
have it.
disconnected from
We
your
have
channel.
earplugs.
Best-
Yourself and the briefing area between that and
Iron. We have all this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
we
my
already
fault.
It's
Yeah,
just no one
the
can-
reason. Yeah, I'll be honest. The reason this happened was because people
Told
start.
nobody to go through the boxes is what happened.
That as well, but also because Zuka started firing, I just kind of forgot
Wrong
about
box.
that and
That's
just
wrong
assumed that she
This
all
box,
have boxes. Yeah, it's this box.
Cannot
Yeah.
hear a thing. Fuck.
And respawn. We're doing a respawn. If you're having massive tinnitus, just respawn.
Why? It'll go the fuck away. It's not that goddamn hard.
User disconnected from
Goes
your
way
channel.
faster when you respawn.
Okay.
Okay, that's my fault. I will apologise for that. What time are we? Okay, we're still a good timer. So, bar the deafening sound, you hopefully got the idea of what tends to happen if you're assaulting a position, if you're moving up and you need to suppress the enemy whilst advancing forward. You can have one element suppress the enemy whilst the other side moves up, and vice versa until you approach the enemy. Hawk, do you want to have a shot now again, now that I've shown it properly? Because I admit I was pretty piss poor in explaining it. Would you like to try it again with Sierra 1?
We still use really confusing terms, like starting off with Alpha and Bravo.
Yeah.
We use red blue like
all the time.
Traditionally, it's an Alpha, but it is Alpha
But
and
we
Bravo,
don't use Alpha Bravo.
or Charlie and Delta for Britain. But
Well, we should probably do Red
England.
and Blue because that's a little bit more intuitive.
Well, you lead on with it
Just
this
in general.
time, because...
User disconnected from your channel.
1 sec.
Yeah, Hawk, one thing you will find out is that section lead and team lead, for that matter, is just exhausting.
I've done team
You
lead.
guys still have
but...
tinnitus?
No.
Team lead is fine, and then you have squad lead.
It's okay, Quill. Do you want to take?
Team lead that was fine.
Quill, take Hawk, take Sierra 1, quickly do a quick bounding just towards the buildings and back, just so they've got a little bit of it properly.
Okay, Sierra 1 on me, form a line of rest.
Can you please make sure you've got.
Give me red on the left and blue on the right. Oh, okay, no, never mind. Blue on the left, red on the right. And green, just follow me.
Get over there.
Safety's off.
We do apologise for that, by the way.
Roger.
It's a bit of a clusterfuck.
Not too many firing.
Okay. So bang, bang, bang. Take cover. Dash forward. Go prone. If I scream take cover, you're going prone. So get down. We're gonna pretend we got fire coming in.
So thanks, Donkey. I've completely forgotten what my squad order was, actually.
Okay, I have one guy going prone. Come on. Right, there we go.
Probably.
Okay, target is the red house to the southeast. Rapid fire.
Red?
Yellow house. Did I say red? Yellow house. Sorry, I'm tired. Okay, red team will bound towards the target, so red team prepare to move. That's start crawling forward, start crawling sideways, make yourself a hard target.
See what Quill's doing?
Okay, let's move.
You see what
Dash, down. Try and keep out the line of fire of your other guys. Right, down. Guys, no, don't wiggle around too much. Once you're down, crawl sideways a bit to spoil the enemy's aim, and start firing again. Blue team, prepare to move.
If there's anyone in that building, they're pretty. But as we can see...
Alright, blue team move. Right, keep going, go past red team while they suppress the enemy. Right, get down. Oh god, you guys are about rubber banding like hell. Okay, red team, prepare to move. Okay, red team, move. So you're dashing down, you're gonna get down about now. So run, not too far, yeah, that's right. Good luck, please don't shoot grenades, that almost hit me. Blue team, prepare to move. Okay, blue team, move. Strictly speaking, the team leader should be going along with one of you guys, but I'm being an example. Okay, blue team, you've probably gone far enough there. Okay, red team will assault the building on my mark, so red team prepare to move. Okay, red team, assault. Okay, blue team, ceasefire.
It's like a pea shooter.
Yes. But as you can see,
ideally, you guys should be screaming as
it's
you attack
completely
them.
improved on what I said. Admittedly, I haven't done this for a while. I haven't had experience with it. But he's done a lot better in what I was trying to explain. He's given prepare orders. He's
Okay, so blue team will provide
when
overwatch
we're getting ready to move rather than just telling people.
Actually, blue team's a little bit close, but whatever.
Odds were given clear and concise commands, which will go into what are communication in a little bit. On top of that, the squads were spread out enough, and that the fire was quick and effective. So that's probably a better example than what I did, I'll be brutally honest, but hopefully you get the idea on what bounding is. That can be applied in a lot of circumstances, and it is really effective if you need to move, and you need to cover if you're moving under fire. So does that make sense? I've sort of explained bounding. You can do that in a platoon element. You can have an entire squad acting as a team, as it were, having each squad cover another squad while they bound forward.
Yeah.
So any questions on that from you guys for now?
Straightforward enough.
Okay, guys. We will reorg around where I'm standing now. So form a 360 perimeter.
Just remember, last time we tried this, we had enemies somehow in the distance shooting at us, and we were like, where did those come from?
So another thing what's Quill's doing is once you
there was nobody in there in the first place.
There was a ghost building. Platoon, this is Sierra 1. We have cleared the objective. Roger that. Okay, we're going to form a 360 perimeter around the house.
So as you can see there, once he's secured a position, he's not letting his guard down. He's telling the guys to set up a perimeter, start doing security checks. Whenever you secure his position, there's a very good chance that the enemy may try and launch a counterattack if the position is of value. So whenever
Right,
you
so
split position,
roughly blue team should be covering to my left and red team should be covering to my right, approximately. As long as you're pointing in a direction that someone else isn't pointing in, you're generally doing okay.
at this point, squad leader, we may dictate the medic to set up a medical center,
Yep.
a building, or a
Platoon,
position.
we're standing by. Well, you said around the building. Right, okay.
Is this where we get graded for replacement?
Standing placement.
You can bring them back in.
Okay, roger that. Okay, everyone, bimble back over. We're done.
So, yeah. As I was saying...
Yep, that is a technical term for not being tactical.
So as I was saying,
Sure,
very active in the security area. What you would do is you would look at your casualties, you would bring them to a center or a position.
Oh, I'm going to use the radio whenever I want.
Cool, your ERP's nice, but you're stepping on donkey over here.
That's really, I can't hear him.
I'm not using the radio, don't worry about it.
Do the volume too.
So I'll wait until the back and I'll just...
Standing
I'll
right
just
next to
people
him and
like
having issues hearing him.
So...
The only thing that wasn't super authentic for a marine training exercise there is that we used actual guns instead of shouting bang.
So, as I was saying to the other guys, Quill's done that a lot better than I could have. A, because he has Royal Marine training, B, because I've not done this for a while, so my experience is a bit lackey. So some of the things to note there for people that are wanting to become team leaders or people that are just wanting to keep an eye out is he used prepare orders, prepare to move, prepare to get ready. He was making sure that he was giving you time to be aware of what was going on, even in a high-stress environment like that. The squads themselves were spread out. They were providing the effective fire. They weren't getting a bit too wonky. The lines you could see the teams were inadequate lines. As they secured the building. Yeah, but you get the idea.
Okay, there's a couple of things I would like to point out there. First thing, I didn't hear the order to actually go into the house. I heard go to the house, and I told everybody to stack up, and we did that pretty well, but it took a few seconds to get through the door.
Compensating and trying to rationalize behavior that isn't even your fault in the first place, Ryan.
Yeah.
A lot of orders that team leads get from the section lead will be like such an order when ready.
Not very clear.
They'll say when ready, which basically means just when you're ready.
Okay, so
which is what Will gave. He gave
on top of that, we have
barely couldn't hear him over the gunshots.
Where exactly? That's something we gotta be aware of.
On top of that, that's why you have prepare orders as well, just so you can double repeat them and things like that. To be fair, we haven't covered CQB, so the building clearing was kind of ad hoc. But one thing I do want to cover, very importantly, what Quill did is once he secured that position, he didn't lower his guard. He didn't just let everyone bimble around and sort of chill until the next thing. You set up a perimeter. You got ready to expect a possible counterattack. Now, what other things? No worries. What other things would have been covered is there would have been magazine checks, ammo reshuffling. If there was a medic on standby, he would be either, depending on the squad leader's discretion, he'd either go up to people, or he would set up a casualty centre in a building or a position and have the injured move to that position.
I think it's best to have a casualty centre in the building you just secured, unless somebody's actually immobile.
One thing I want to say, if you want to call a medic to my name, so medic to Donkel, please. Medic Donkel. That means that Hawk, for example, knows that a medic's been called. He knows exactly the person who it's been called on. If you just shout medic, it's not going to help anyone because he might not. Yeah.
If I am your medic and you say medic and nothing else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I have no directional hearing, fuck you, die in a ditch.
In combat, people won't necessarily be able to identify you by voice, so try to refer yourself to in the third person. It just helps a lot.
That's it.
Yeah, it's something a lot of us are also trying to get into because we used to be so goddamn small and everybody knew each other's voice.
And we rarely do training exercises, so
Especially
it's
McDonald's,
nice.
but that's changed now.
I know Keith's amount of voices, but I don't know everyone's voices.
So
I
there's annoying fly
who
in
my
the
leaders
distance.
are.
Must be make an effort to know everybody's voice because I'm a good admin.
Rick, so while we don't do training a lot. This is actually the second time we've really actually done a training thing. Sometimes I'll do little individual things with a few people if there's something specific, but doing this every so often allows us just to sort of remind ourselves what the basics are, and then more importantly, it means when new guys do come in, everyone knows the basics well enough to kind of implant it onto people until we get to our next training session. But I was actually going to cover that after action assault thing that Quill did, but he's pretty much done it for me, so it's fine. I can quickly just word of mouth. It's actually quite. Thank you for that, Quill. That was actually really perfectly timed. So as I mentioned, for anyone that's a squad leader, or team leader, or anyone, take initiative once you've secured a position. Don't expect the enemy to just let you have it. There may be a chance of a counterattack, so you must prepare the position for a possible counterattack. A good example of something like that some of the guys may have been aware of was when we did a CSAT mission with an assault in a position. I was the team leader. Once we had assaulted the position, I had a 360 perimeter set. I asked people to set claymores into hot points and choke points of the position because I expected a counterattack. A building was designated as a casualty area, and it also meant that I was aware of what was going on around me, who was doing what was being set up, and it means it takes in mind. It means people aren't rushing off as well, so the squad leader knows where everyone is, and it makes it a lot easier for if something suddenly happens, he can very quickly react. So, is there any questions to what you've just saw overall with the bounding side of things? Sorry, another thing just to add to the guys who did that because they weren't here when I was saying that. What you've done can also be done on a platoon level, so each team could be represented by a squad. So one squad covers another squad as they advance up. So yeah, on that, is there any questions about the bounding and the sort of after assaulting and securing a position?
Not for that, but for the bit in between. I was the only one that actually did this, but I'm pretty sure that's just because there was only one window that we could do it with. If you're breaching a building, make sure you have people also on the windows looking in, and check the windows before you go inside.
What I was actually going to do is move on to CQB in a second.
I'll be honest.
Okay, I've got some more comments on that, but that's more a CQB thing.
The CQB thing is basically improvisation there. Normally, if you're
Tim will be out. Okay. So we're almost done with that bit.
There were first off getting suppressing fire down. 2, pepper potting up to the target. 3, you have someone assault the target. So basically, close combat. Attacking a building is a lot different to attacking an open field position. That is a different aspect of combat. So it's SWAT 4. So don't worry too much about what you literally just did.
Yeah.
You did fine.
Away, sir.
The last part is the reorg. That particular one, I decided that I was going to reorg behind the objective. You will want to decide beforehand whether you're going to reorg on the objective. So we probably should have gone inside the building, but I hadn't planned anything. You can pull back if you think that you're going to be immediately counterattacked. If you push through, then you can put yourself in an advantageous position behind the enemy position. So you can then kind of your forth from there. So you'll want to bear in mind where you're going to finish afterwards, as well as where you're starting and where you're assaulting.
One thing to add on to that as well. Just 1 second, Zuka. When you're, this is something that needs to be sort of drilled into people's mind. When you're in an assaulting position and you take hits, there's a difference between hits and casualties. So if you've taken some bullets, if one of you guys have gone down, don't falter the assault. You can deal with casualties once you've secured the position, because if you're assaulting a position of power, a high ground, trench line, fortifications, once you've secured that, you're going to be in a better area to deal with those casualties rather than trying to attempt field surgery in the middle of a forest whilst the enemy is looking down on you with high ground advantage. So it is quite a hard thing to try and break out of that mentality. But whenever possible, ignore your wounds, ignore the guys that are on the ground, try and push, keep a note of where they are so you don't lose them, which I've seen happen, but try and prioritise pushing. This goes for the squad leaders and team leaders mainly. Try and focus on pushing through, securing that position, because once you secure it, then you can bring the guys up, then you can start doing the aftermath of securing a position should really be the time where you deal with your ammo, you deal with your casualties. It's sort of like you normally have a heated moment of battle, then this rest moment where you can get people stitched and sorted, and then you can move on to the next thing. And as mentioned, normally positions that you do assault will be positions of power, positions of fortifications, positions of strength, and you would rather be, I think the medics would agree with me here, that you would rather be in a place where you are fortified and protected when it comes to dealing with casualties.
As just like the best advice I give as a medic to like the average footman, if you get shot, tourniquet, carry on. That's
Yeah.
it.
So definitely, and
Why make everyone carry
there's obviously it's going to be up to the squad leader's discretion. When he deems an assault to have failed and he does pull back, don't suicide yourself against something. But at the same time, don't be frightened off by a few shots and one or two casualties. Definitely get that mentality of pushing through, getting that position, because, as mentioned, you're inherently always going to be in a position of power once you've secured that area. So what time are we at? Yeah, so we've got about an hour and a half left, so we're doing for good for time. 3 more things on theory, and I'll get you off for a very quick mission so we can apply some of this. I'm going to do a very brief CQB thing. I don't know too much about it. I'll try my best to do what I've learned and impart it onto this. So it'll be very brief. We'll do some basic communication stuff, basic radio stuff, and then I'll get you to fuck off for a mission. So let us follow... I'm trapped. Follow me.
What?
Just follow the horde.
This is the training for the Soviet campaign.
Yeah, this is what we're
The man with the rifle shoots, the man who does not have the rifle waits for the man with the rifle to be shot, and then he picks up the rifle and shoots.
Oh, if you're gonna do it right.
Oh, hush.
What's his name?
Clearing buildings is actually surprisingly where battle buddy teams become more useful. Sometimes you won't have a full squad clearing a building, sometimes you might have 4 people clearing it. A lot of the times I've seen you just kind of split off into 2, so this is really where your battle buddy teams come in, because one guy can at least cover the other guy. Now, when you approach a building, it's not always... The thing about CQB is you're never going to have a situation where you're going to be casualty free. When you're doing an urban assault, you are going to have casualties. It is... I think it's one of the basic rules of urban combat is you should always expect casualties. You can't make this perfect. You can't make this play in your benefit. You're always going to be at a disadvantage when you're going in. You can just try and level the field and make it a lot easier, because a CQB sweep is hard enough in real life. In a element where you don't really have flashbangs that work too well, because Arma, it's Arma.
Things will never work on the enemy and will always work on your team.
So yeah.
And you will always get yelled at for them.
When and if you can, the first thing you want to do is you want to do an outside sweep. So balconies, windows, just do a check of them. Make sure there's nobody inside these buildings. If you can clear, it also means you can also look for civilians, because the last thing you want to do is you want to open the door, throw a grenade, and you realise you've just killed 1 guy but 2 civilians that were in the building as well. Unfortunately,
losses.
It's as much as this is something we tend to do, I would like to reiterate the fact. A lot of the times you do have rules of engagements, and civilians are surprisingly something you do not engage. As mentioned, the first thing I want to mention is, like I said, you might not always get the best circumstances for this, but 2 guys just sweeping it, cutting the cake or cutting the pie, as they call it, just very gently swinging. Yeah. So this is where this is definitely...
Technically, the other half of your squad should be covering the people making entry, whether it be windows in opposing buildings or...
Boom, you just got shot in the face, Donkey.
I know, I'm just about to get into this. Well, I'll run through...
There's one more thing you have to do, the gradual door opening thing.
That's literally, don't jump, because you don't know what I'm going to say next. What I was going to say is, once you've done a 360 perimeter of the outside and you're ready to clear in, for example, if you know there is no enemies, if you know there is no civilians, and you know there's enemies inside and you can do a hot breach, going up to a door, holding shift and... No, it is not that. It is shift and then... Oh, no, it's control. Yeah. I've been a while since done. So, having 2 guys at the door, having 1 guy aim in. Gonzalo, could you do that for me? Could you step back from it? Thank you.
Genuinely thought it was like that.
So, control, space, and then if you actually press your scroll wheel, You open the door bit by bit. At this point, you don't even have to open it. If you know there's hostiles in it and there's no civilians, pop a grenade through the door. That was the green light, so don't worry, it's not going to go bang. Bang!
I was briefly worried.
And then at that point, you can open the door fully or go back to the scrolling in. Once you're going in, and this is where it gets dangerous because there could be guys in the corner, that's why you want to minimise the risk to you by doing a 360 sweep, by possibly putting a frag in, and by slowly cutting the cake by opening the door slightly and have someone covered in. At this point,
Remember that you can lean and you can do this.
You can lean in, but when you want to go in, Gonzalo is going to go from right to left. I'm going to go from left to right. So I want to go in like this. Gonzalo is going to go in and go in onto the other side. But immediately look for the corners. Once the corner's clear, it's basically a case of moving on and sweeping through. It's a lot about communication and talking with one another, making sure that both sides are aware of how they're going to clear it. So it's clear, clear, clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
you've got an active laser as well. 100% use it in close
Set.
quarters.
Alright, pushing in.
I don't even know how to activate it.
Control L to
Yeah.
turn off the night vision to laser, and then just L to turn it on.
You're going upstairs. The first, when you're going upstairs, the lead guy is going to be looking forward. The guy behind him is going to be looking up, and likewise at that point, each guy is going to be looking at a different angle. Most importantly is whenever you're clearing a building, whenever you're stacking up, whenever you're in some sort of urban area like this, you kind of want to be looking wherever somebody else isn't to give that maximum range. As I've mentioned, urban is one of the worst environments to fight in. Sometimes something's going to happen, you're really not going to have the ability to really deal with it. It's a bit bullshitty, to be brutally honest, especially with Arma's physics and Arma's AI. There's just going to be times when inevitably the AI is just going to fuck you over. But by doing things like this, by clearing the buildings, by doing sweeps of the windows, by slowly opening the doors, by if you're certain that there's no civilians in the building, by popping a grenade through the window or the door, you're going to lessen those. Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, I have a green smoke grenade. By going Shift and G, you actually have your little aimer thing. Arma arc. That's what that's. I'm actually that's a good way of calling it.
Throw.
It's not called Arma arc, but that's a nice name for it. You can use that to actually get a proper bounce off the wall and things like that. So you definitely use that. If you press scroll, you actually get the option for a more vertical throw. That's good for getting them through places like that. So that's really when you want to vest your grenade throws, is from places like that. You can actually, I believe, you can.
What's that?
Works through the window as well. So, if you want, do you want to practice this? A little bit? Are you confident in just going off words, or would you like to actually give it a little shot?
I got shot.
I'm confident. I've been doing basically the same thing in the
That's fine then. Hello, yes.
I hung around.
Sid was going to do a small mission after this, right?
Yeah, we're just about to go get onto it.
Me and Dare are your medics, and we have zero training.
Right.
Smoke is making life really difficult.
Communication radio stuff, so we're literally at the end. I'll get the medics. If anyone wants to do specialised and special things, I'll do that. I could use that as a chance to build the mission itself, actually, so that's pretty good timing. Right, follow me again over here.
How do you pick these up?
Everyone over here.
Coming out of here.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, I've got a couple more comments actually for building breaching.
You took it.
That's fine, like I said.
Well, Donkey, if you want to know like the sad reality of urban combat,
User left
I read
your
the
channel.
entire current U.S. Urban combat book, right?
I can imagine it literally just says people are fucked.
No, it says use high explosives, destroy buildings.
No, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Like, if you have to assault a building, basically, like, you're gonna lose at least one dude.
But if you have to not
Because
explode
the basic principle is to dive in, like, you dive into the room, and then the first guy just gets shot by the guy hiding in the corner.
Yeah, the first guy distracts the second guy who shoots him.
That's it. Yep, always be on full auto when you go into a building. That's one thing I want to reiterate. You rarely have it, but if you do have CAS on hand, it's CAS. It's there for a reason. Infantry shouldn't be dealing with armor. Infantry shouldn't really be dealing with hard points. you get cast to do it, and then you sweep up what comes after. It doesn't mean this cast goes up there and wipes everything off. Cough, cough, quill, Gale. But it's on standby for there. I've noticed a few times when we have cast, it doesn't really get used to when it needs to be used. Seriously, it's there for a reason.
It's because nobody calls for it, because they usually just start killing everything, so the infantry doesn't have fun.
I know. It's an awkward balance, but cast is called in on a single target. Once that target's dealt with, it doesn't come back around, it fucks off until it's called in again. So definitely, if there is cast on standby, use it, designate key targets, designate grid coordinates, designate a city block if you want it removed.
Cast doesn't verify infantry targets, the infantry verifies infantry targets.
So
Yeah,
you
then
verify...
verifies whether or not you got access.
That's it.
One more thing.
Okay.
Unless
I'd
told
like to say.
otherwise.
Sure.
Once you've cleared a building, I recommend marking it on the map with a map marker, because that's really the only way to make it obvious what buildings we've cleared.
Just about to get onto that.
Okay.
So, what we're going to cover now is communications, which involves a bit of map marking, then radios, and then I'm going to, if anyone needs to do some medical stuff, or there's any people want to, they maybe talk to other people,
medical training.
I'll get the mission built, and then you'll have...
I could use some medical training.
So,
awesome.
Fine. So the basic things about communication, I'm really bad at. I've said it so many times. Everyone has their I don't know what Zuka called it. What was the thing you called it? Where like there's a certain thing.
It's a vocal tick, right?
Not a
Is that
vocal
what you're
tick.
talking about?
It's you have something where you freeze up. What did you call that though? You called it something. Paralysis. Yeah, command. So squad leaders for anyone.
Right.
When you're giving orders out, when you're instructing people, when you're communicating, certain things. You will freeze.
That thing that you're doing right now.
So, if you're in a combat situation, sometimes you need to make.
The term for that is a brain fart.
Actual brain fart. Let's call it combat. Let's call it paralysis though. So, if you're a squad leader or team leader, or even sometimes a rifleman or an infantryman, and you're in the heat of a firefight, you need to give out orders, or you need to call out something. Certain things might cause you to freeze up, might cause you to sort of go blank. For me, I know which one mine's is. It's when a radio's going off and I'm giving an order, I shut down because I cannot talk with two people in my head. I have to turn the radio off, or I have to wait for it to over. And sometimes you're not going to have that opportunity. For squad leaders, always when you're on the move, keep an eye out on your surroundings. Think, what am I going to do? Where can my squads go when we take cover? That's just the one thing I like to say there. Sometimes just giving an order, getting people moving is better than saying nothing and trying to think of a precise order you need to do. So you can help that by keeping an eye out on your surroundings and figuring out where I want things to go if it goes hot, and it should hopefully ease things up a bit. But admittedly, everyone has their little paralysis things. So I think that the biggest thing is identifying them and then working from that.
One principle that a squad leader should stick to is I was always trained to when you start coming under fire, like the first thing to do is go, okay, where's that coming from? Just suppressing fire, like rapid fire. That gives you time to quickly look at the tactical situation. Just don't bother shooting yourself. Hopefully everyone else is suppressing them. Take an eye on the tactical situation. If it's overwhelming incoming fire, you want to fall back, etc. But just like take that minute or so to stop and think, and don't think you have to make a decision right on the spot. If you're going to be massacred in seconds, then you're going to be massacred in seconds. It doesn't matter. If you can potentially win the firefight, then a couple of seconds of rapid fire is not going to lose the battle. So just think you have to think so hard that you get paralysis. Basically, it sounds counterintuitive.
I have an additional question on top of that. If I am a team lead and my squad lead has frozen up and I'm not getting anything, is it reasonable to put people in cover and start returning fire and that sort of thing?
That brings me to something. If you are there are some actions as a squad that should be relatively autonomous. Like when you're safe, you should find cover, find somewhere safe, find a perimeter, mag checks, and the medic should be probably looking at people. A lot of these, you want these actions to be autonomous. It's good that the squad lead will actually, if the squad lead actually makes sure to cover that, to make sure people are actually doing it, but he shouldn't have to say it. It should be kind of autonomous.
On that note, some of the things to keep in mind, the squad leader or anyone, especially RTOs, especially radio operators, is the art of speaking. Now, I haven't mastered it, for sure. There's a lot of things that I do wrong, but certain things to keep in mind is saying a lot with saying what you need to say in as little words as possible. Now that is the one that I do not have mastery over. I ramble.
If you need to say something, take a minute to think about how you're going to say it before saying it.
Don't just
that is it.
Just
yeah. So basically, try and say as much as you can with the least amount of words. I can't give an example off the top of my head, but hopefully that makes sense. And that's something you understand.
Contact southwest, Yellow House.
That's the thing. So that's a pretty good identifying mark. Clarity. So we have a range. We have an sorry.
The hangar of the southwest.
So clarity. We have an amazingly
Good thing I said Yellow House, because there is a Yellow House close by.
Wait. Done.
It's a little better for mistakes there, because if you're taking contact, then...
Okay, it's fine. Now, yeah, so like I said, saying a lot with a few words. So moving on to clarity. There's a lot of people here from different countries, different accents, different microphone levels. So being very clear and concise, using the phonetic alphabet whenever possible, is always going to help you. Confirmation and readback. Always have the other person confirm what you've said and have them read it back if possible, so that both sides are aware. That also means that one side can then not say, I never heard that, because they repeated it back and they confirmed that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There is something else to remember which is always very important, which is if you're using the radio, for the love of God, don't shout into it, because it will come out of most people's ears much louder than the standard battlefield, so they can hear commands. Please don't shout into radios.
The radio amplifies everything you say, so speaking at a normal volume is essentially the equivalent of...
What should also be done is you can adjust your volume level on your radio. Set them to levels that work for you.
Doesn't really work.
It's a good thing to do. If you're using a long-range radio, set one up differently than the other.
I've only got one
separate
radio.
ears. I mean, other than Hawk, but for most people, if you're using multiple radios, set them to different ears.
That wasn't valid.
In RTO, it is absolutely required that you understand how to work your radios, how to get them in different ears, and how to manage 2 or more command channels.
Yeah, so a good example of confirmation readback would be Alpha, this is Bravo. Copy Alpha, this is Bravo, send it. Copy Bravo, eyes on, multiple MBTs moving northwest. Copy Alpha, do read, multiple MBTs moving Alpha, can confirm, copy that out. This is Alpha, copy that out. So Bravo has read back what he said, he's confirmed it, they understand it. It's very... yeah, why not, go ahead.
Runs away.
My ears marches down.
Sierra 1, Sierra 2, form line. Prepare to assault buildings towards the south.
Oh, right.
Sierra 1, line formed.
I'm confused as to who's Sierra 1 and who's Sierra 2 now.
Yep.
Really, I just spent like 2 minutes thinking about that.
I'm Sierra 1. No, wait. That's wrong.
Oh god, we're Hawks Mob.
Or we won because we did the exercise first, and then...
Sierra 1, Regimental HQ, can I have you face southwest just to line up between that first black and red pillar, red and white pillar, how copy?
We're Sierra 1 Hawk.
Alright, okay. Okay, let's alright, form up again, right? You get the idea though. Just to not overcomplicate things, because I know names are getting mixed up. We'll do this when we move on. But you get the idea. Make sure that you have a readback. So, Alpha, this is Bravo. As I mentioned, this is Bravo. Send it. Confirm Bravo. Confirm Bravo. We have multiple entities. So Alpha reports multiple entities moving south-southwest. Can you confirm? This is Bravo. Copy that, Alpha. We do confirm multiple entities moving south-southwest. Out. A few other things. Out. Lets the person know you've done speaking. Break means I've had a brain fart. Give me a moment while I formulate my sentence. So this is Alpha. Multiple vehicles moving south-southwest. Break.
Donkey, that's not really the right use of break.
It's not, but that's the one I use it. Break is normally if you're moving on to a next sentence, or if you're going to move on with some further information. But let's be honest, it's also quite good if you've got a brain fart and you need to sort of let people know that you're still going to talk.
Yeah, usually I'd say something like wait one.
Wait one as well.
Stand by.
Wait one or break or stand by are also applicable, but break is normally used if you're going to add something else to it. But by adding break or adding out to your radio
User
communication,
left your
you
channel.
are helping the other person know when you're done. It just helps with the radio communication. Sorry, I'm burping there. So that comes across the idea of alerting, identifying, and just letting people know when you're ready to receive something. If someone says Alpha, this is Bravo. Bravo, wait one. Let them know. If you're a little bit busy and you're quite dealing with something, you can just tell them, give me a second. Once you're ready, you can go, Bravo, this is Alpha. Alpha, this is Bravo. Send it. That I'm ready to receive that information. So some of the key things that radio RTO officers, if you are going to remain RTO guys, you want to be active in that role. Some of these keywords to help all the guys communicate and work well, and not to cause any confusion and stress in that role. Because an RTO role is fairly stressful as it is, because you're listening to your squad leader give your command and you're giving it to someone else, and you need to try and do that as quickly as fast as possible. And that goes on to using. I know I'm almost done here. So that's goes along the idea of using procedure and tactical language. So the phonetic alphabet, using grid coordinates. You don't slur. Don't use slang. Don't use slang language. Try and keep it as clear, concise, possible. Don't be
clear,
rude.
concise, and complete.
Yep. So any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Does everybody in TFF use the NATO alphabet? Is everybody in TFF from a country that uses the NATO alphabet?
It should be, yes.
Actually, honestly, I don't think there is a single member of TFF who isn't from NATO or the Commonwealth.
Alright, good enough.
If not,
actually, no. We have one person and they're from Brazil.
But does Brazil use
Brazil's
the
a
NATO
NATO country.
alphabet?
Yeah, they should. If not, just Google the phonetic alphabet. Basically, Alpha Bravo, Alpha Bravo. God, my head. Alpha Bravo, Charlie Delta. Yeah, let's not get into it too much though. But we understand it's.
What about Russia?
We don't have
They
Russian.
use the complete alphabet.
I believe they still use something. Actually, I'm pretty sure they still use something phonetic-wise, wouldn't they?
I think they do, but I think they have a different.
Mostly
well,
use...
first off, Cyrillic script is way different than the kinds of letters we
Does this
use.
matter? What are we talking about? This doesn't sound like...
Okay, anyway, so completely irrelevant, but yeah, if you don't know what it is, just type phonetic alphabet, you'll get a list of things. Normally what it means is the word, you take the first letter of it. Romeo, R. So if I was spelling donkey, I would go Delta, Oscar, November, Kilo. Took me a moment there. Anyway, so that is literally all the basics I've covered. What I'm going to do now is there any other questions about anything that I've covered overall, or is there anything you need to kind of ask or you want to get ask about right now?
We have our original squad designations back.
I'm going to hand that over to you to get sorry, that's my fault, apologies. Any other questions?
Sierra 1 then.
Anybody under me with Sparrow, because fuck this nearly identical shit.
Yes, please!
My name
Okay,
my
we're
name's like the best one, Sparrow is the best. It's just...
What we're going to...
We're Burb Squad.
Squad. Burb. So what we're going to do is, if you want to learn the medical system right now, go off with column. If you want to, and Madrona's, and some, well, both of them. Okay.
Let's do it together.
What I'll do is I will set up a mission for you now. I want you to try and apply a lot of things you've learned. It will be a little bit of urban as well, just so you get some of that down, with a little bit of bounding. Okay.
Are we going to be having vehicles in this mission or no?
Medical shit, please come to this far end down here near the box.
Aside from like in a social
one
chopper.
fallout.
Will we be shooting
Speaking of this, where you can actually look at this stuff.
Yeah, there's
Ooh, bloody hell.
Oh. Clear some rooms.
I'm here for other questions because I know another specialization.
We'll just done that for you.
Just didn't want you to be lonely. Somebody who actually needs training will ever show up to it.
Where's man? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was. What's
An
the word?
example with you.
You've learned stuff, and yeah.
I have the process down, but I am relatively decent at it.
Yeah, this guy's just gonna stand over there.
It's in a while.
User left your channel.
What?
Push the.
Look at Arma.
Which building?
By one.
Be advised, possible firing, sir.
Are you shooting people to get test subjects?
Negative input. That works, thank you.
Bravo stack right, watch this window.
I've kind of cleared a room.
Yeah, pretty much. You just gotta make sure you check each room.
Draggy, you watch the window. John, get that MG facing elsewhere.
Jen, how do you switch between scopes? I've
Control right click.
Control right click.
It's not working.
Do you only have one optic?
Yeah, these don't do the RHS thing where it uses the top of the optic, which is
Yeah,
annoying.
Draggy, you don't have another optic on your weapon.
I have two.
You'd have to pull it off.
Oh, is that a Control
Also,
and
another
backslash
person
can
could
also
be a
do
machine
it.
gunner. Just point that out. Yeah.
You have a very big gun that is very difficult to shift around corners.
I mean, you could just go in full load, full auto.
Yeah, you just run in, holding the trigger down, and fill every room.
Silenced as well, by the
Problem
way.
with
His
that,
MG's
reason we don't
silenced.
Put the belt fed in first
Yeah, boy.
because it's more likely to jam.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen,
Jams, then
though,
everyone
what's
is
actually gonna happen, John, is you're gonna get stuck on the door, and the AI that was staring at you is gonna shoot you in the head. Happened to me a lot with big guns like that, so.
Oh, I know why I was
Nobody
aiming
just
down
uses
that
that
side.
pistol.
Whoa, whoops.
Yeah, that might actually be better.
I was aiming down the side.
Not. Boy.
Boy. Okay, let's stack up on the door. Christ.
The reason why I was looking down those iron sights instead, that scope,
Only ever used to doing it with two people, unfortunately.
I was
Okay.
looking down for the HE grenade.
Right, I want two guys on my side, two guys on the other. Damn it, guys, you've already gone inside the building.
Right, shots ringing out.
Close the door.
I'll go on the other side.
There we go. Okay, so we've got. Usually we do this with 4 people. Apparently we have 5 this time around. So I guess one person will be kind of on Overwatch. And normally I wouldn't have the machine gun going in first, but it doesn't matter because we're pretending.
Pistol.
What we will do is normally
Have a
one
lot
guy
easier time, trust me.
will open the door, one guy will frag the room with whatever the squad leads decided we're going to frag it with.
Lights?
Alternatively, we'll carefully. Who's fiddling around with the door?
Me. Sorry.
Okay.
It's really cool.
So in this case, the door opens your way, on your side, so you would like inch the door open a bit. Or would chuck something in, like frag grenade. Oh. Damn it.
Oh no, I'm dead.
Okay, so I just killed everyone, so we're gonna ignore that. Is it Shift G? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I toss a grenade in the room. We wait for it to go bang. Bang. So then, what will happen is me and the person on the opposite side of me will be going in mostly forward through the room. People immediately following up will be covering the far corners and killing the guys who just shot us in the back. So I charge in first. I move into the room and shoot Kyrnz. Guy immediately behind me follows up. Yeah. Was actually surprisingly good.
Played SWAT far before.
Played SWAT a lot.
The important part is if anyone is behind you, you basically you literally need to just rush the room and shoot anyone in front of you.
Well, the thing is, isn't the windows here to cover those corners though? Like we've got this window here, so can we just check through those windows to make sure the corners are safe?
Before you breach the room.
This kind of assumes that if there are any windows, you've already gunned everyone down inside that you can see.
Yeah.
So the emphasis when you're assaulting the room is if I see someone and I stop in the doorway, I'm gonna die. Because yeah.
You're gonna die, and nobody else is gonna be able to cross you.
So then you have to drag them out.
The thing is, the person behind you is probably going to die as well because they're trying to get through the door.
And they've also probably just shot them in the back. So literally, you charge in, and you hope that the guys behind you are charging in just as fast and shooting the guys who might be about to shoot you. Literally, you are relying on your teammates to keep you alive. God, that one's going to be a pain in the ass. So, for this door, because it opens towards us, then Gale would be opening the door slightly. Jonathan would be fragging the room, and then you'd slam the door shut, wait for the frags to go off.
Jumped up on my desk and stepped on my fire button.
Okay, let's go. We can do it now.
The other interesting thing is, if there are people on the other side of the door, let's go through doors. Yeah, bang! Okay, so you slam the door open, John goes in first, goes in second, covers the other side.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Oh yeah, good point.
If you did the reverse, you'd have said the same thing, though, so...
I didn't even glance to the right, though.
The problem with CQB is that people are going to die because, like, Kyrnz will be hiding there. And so the first guy pops out, checks the right, and then they get hit in the back, so the guy who comes round on the left needs to ignore who just got shot, because you've just come through and you need to kill the guy who just shot him, otherwise you get shot as well. And you get some
the person who just got shot also didn't die because at that range, you're almost always going to hit their vest.
Which is going to hurt like hell at this range, but it's not necessarily going to kill you. So when you're assaulting, if you see the guy in front fall over, don't hesitate. Just assault with the knowledge that there's someone shooting your friends in the back, because that's probably going to be the best way to save them at that point. I see this a lot where people take casualties and they just kind of falter, and you need to get over that. Also remember that this is a video game and you don't actually die if you get shot. So using that meta knowledge, being immortal gods, keep moving.
Everything.
Stairwells are a huge pain in the ass. I honestly can't remember how you deal with stairwells aside from bouncing grenades off the opposite wall.
I actually know how to deal with stairwells.
I could probably explain.
Okay, so I want vitals behind me.
9 minutes, and then we can get this mission done. That's fine, we're on basic medical anyway, so we can't go through much.
I'm just waiting for you.
Yes.
In fact, I'm gonna turn off my radio.
Shit, fuck, that's my fault, sorry.
Okay, my radio's off. I can now hear myself think. The way we deal with stairs, right? is you do this, right? You get a grenade out. Basically, you kind of just creep up the stairs, aiming as far as you can into the room as you go, and then grenade the room. And then you move slowly upward and bang, 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 and just like you would any other room.
Whatever reason,
You would do there
for whatever
is
reason,
actually
you
just,
have to.
like-
For whatever reason, you don't have grenades. When you're climbing up, you're facing basically towards where the contact is, where the stairwell will be. This is a bad example, actually, because there's much worse stairwells that have even worse balconies. If the person in front of you dies, and you roughly understand where they got shot from, feel free to aim up and pump some rounds through the floor, because those should penetrate and hit them. If you're,
Can I just quickly
anything slightly
check?
heavier than.
I'm gonna shoot in the far corner, so don't like. I just want to check see if it actually does.
5.56 will not penetrate these floors. I don't know if 6.5 does, but 7.6 definitely should.
That did not go through.
Not through? Alright.
Yeah.
It's a very low caliber rifle. Can I try?
Doors will generally penetrate. I will demo.
Hey, do you want me to try shooting up through the floor?
Kyrnz, get out of the way of the door.
Alright.
Did they actually hit you?
Almost.
Wand. Yeah, you can see the holes in the wall. Yeah.
So wait, do 5.5, not 5. Oh, fucking hell.
Do you want to actually look down and see if there's if that comes through here?
There's no holes in the floor.
No bullets.
You need some really big guns to actually go through the structural elements.
Right, that's a little weird.
20mm is good for blowing up the entire building and everyone inside.
You remember the Dyslexie's basics of ballistics videos? They did it with, I think, some of the heavier NATO weapons.
Oh.
But the floor in here is like stone and then hardwood, so it's probably not going to be able to be pierced with most handheld weapons.
Well, what you want is the Halo Magnum with the exploding bullets because
You fired through the walls, you didn't fire through the floor.
We'll go through the entire building and kill
the
everyone
walls are
inside.
just plaster and lath. Could, like, blow your nose through this wall, but the floor is hardcore.
Some of them are stone?
Fucking hell, I was drinking my pet.
User joined your
I don't think
channel.
I went through.
Piss.
Can I try and shoot through this wall on this side where Kyrnz is standing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did that hit you? Yes.
Right, yeah, for whatever reason, these are also place structures,
User
actually.
left your
They're
channel.
not map structures, so...
But there's also, like, there's a fair chance that any handheld weapon, if you fire it through a structural element or an object, they'll probably have lost most of its energy through that, and it won't actually hurt them.
Miniguns on the Little Bird, though, will definitely shred this building, and it's, they're like 7.62, I think.
Well, I mean, if you have, like, the, what you call them?
Down 19.
14, and you fire it into the building, basically, if you have projectile trails turned on, it'll turn blue after the first wall, and after it turns blue, it doesn't register a hit anymore.
There's a video, I'll post it in the training channel.
Yeah, that's a good
Although
idea.
apparently it doesn't work.
Might be this those things.
Boy, bang, we're all dead, we got breached and cleared, and basically just someone made a mess of us. But yeah, the basics, get in, don't stop, check every corner, make sure don't stop clearing the building, essentially. If you stop, that's where you die. Like, in the space of people clearing buildings in Lib, I'll clear like 8 buildings.
Is that why
span
people
of,
yell? Sorry to interrupt. Is that why people yell when breaching in actual, like, real-life situations? They try to be as obnoxiously loud, confusing, and whatnot to confuse the person they're breaching into.
Well, see, when I was with the Marines, like, if you're generally, when you're assaulting something, you were encouraged to scream at them. Basically just a psychological thing. Like, if you're fired up, then you're going to keep going and not stop, and the other people are going to be shitting themselves. Obviously, it doesn't really. The other part of it is to make sure that you know where your guys are. So if you're constantly making noises, then you don't accidentally shoot each other in the splanch. When you like both go through the same building in opposite directions.
Yeah.
So it's entirely up to you. Usually, when I'm assaulting a building, I'd make random noises so that people know I'm approaching.
These are 5.56.
Random noises.
Ew.
Yeah, I understand.
7U.
But AAF
Oh, we're AAF, so we shoot all the civilians by accident because we're incompetent Nimrods.
Yeah.
I love
live
that, like,
games.
I remember playing like the first missions of the main Arma campaign again after doing the Laws of War one, and like the first mission is, oh look, the AAF accidentally shot some civilians.
Yeah.
It looks like they're mounting up outside. Oh yeah, one last thing. Don't fucking put your weapon on top of the balcony because it looks like a great place to mount a machine gun, but you have no cover.
Yeah, the balcony. Just don't even go onto the balconies.
Also, if you stand in the back of the room when you're firing, they won't be able to hear your gunshots. If you fire from back here out the window, they can't hear your gunshots. It'll sound like it's 10 miles away to them.
It cancels out a lot of the noise. It's pretty great.
I like how we all suddenly aim at the squad. It's like,
Who can we quietly shoot?
Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, the temptation is so goddamn real.
Have a thing in the lib server though, where I'll go and I'll just clear like half the town and then get shot in the face and be down for the rest of it.
Temptation just to snipe one of them off though.
Probably go down and say hi to them.
That would be
they're
slightly
literally like
irritating.
grouped up right now.
If you back up, you could put some rounds around their feet and see what they do.
I just took a screenshot of me aiming at Donkey, so...
Remember, someone told me actually, it's like, rounds don't bounce, and I was like, oh yeah, and I sprayed the ground under him, and he ended up getting filled with ricochets.
It's interesting that
he, like, looked at Discord.
As a heavy machine gunner, if you aim ahead of the target, you'll actually be more likely to hit stuff because the rounds like mow across the ground.
Oh, that's another thing. When you guys stack up on doorways, don't rub against the wall, because if a round hits you, or it hits the wall, it'll travel along it and likely hit you as well.
I think we're reorging, Kyrnz.
Sorry, I stepped out. I sent Donkey a picture of me aiming at his head.
But yeah, we're no longer being terrified by T-100s. The T-100 could just pop a couple high ATs on us and, well, rip.
Is the medical system just like base station, basically? On how...
No. No.
Not even like...
That looked
really
nice.
from poor bandages.
I'm glad that looked good.
Similar.
You're gonna like the Berlin
but I
Wall.
can't say it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Donkey, what was the next one meant to be?
We are portraying a Soviet VDV/mechanized battalion, so Quill can get his VMP, from the 1980s during an alternative history where the Cold War was hot.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
The first mission will have border guards, music, a stealth element with a 5-man Spetsnaz team, plenty of cheeky breaky. I'm worried about the checkpoints and they might be a little bit boring, so Hawkeye may still use a Kozus if you want to.
Oh no. What is going on?
Okay,
Alright,
so
we are ready.
that's fine.
Quiet.
One more thing just to cover. I forgot literally one thing because it was about the map markers. I said I was going to cover it and I forgot about it. So if we look on the map now,
User joined your channel.
Global chat.
Is that funny? Oh, that's Robert's joined. Okay. Bad guys.
Quiet as hell.
You guys shoot them.
Okay, I'm not repeating that.
Send. No. Nudes.
You think he'll notice if we all point our guns at him?
So you notice on the map now I have something that says BWP1, BWP1, AWP2,
We've got there's two.
Yeah, I noticed that one's a little wrong. Don't worry about it. So, whilst you get to see, admittedly right now you get to see all these map markers and get to see players on the map. Normally we don't have map markers, normally we don't actually get to see where the other people are. And a big thing for platoons and squads are waypoints on the map. What these are is they should be done either by myself or by the platoon. I tried to give it to the platoon to do, but obviously I don't want to be too long with it. And so what these are going to help the squads not get too strung out, not too far ahead, and also gives people a kind of idea of where people like to sort of where they kind of need to be, where they're getting staged up. It also means that whilst you're approaching these things, you give the RTO will be like, this is Alpha, this is Alpha 2 platoon, we are Alpha waypoint 1 out, and then the platoon, if he wants them to advance, he can say this is platoon confirmed, proceed on to waypoint 2, or if he knows that Bravo hasn't reached waypoint 1, he can go confirm Alpha wait 1 and hold at waypoint 1 until further notice. And it means the platoon leader can sort of keep a control of how the units are flowing through the battle. You can also bring it up to staging points and you can combine them. You know, these are very useful dots, if that makes sense. And also, as I was saying, if you are, let's look over to Telos, for example. If we just look over here, for example, for a minute here. If you're clearing a town, and let's say you're clearing through these buildings, mark them once you've cleared them.
Yeah.
What that's going to do is that's just going to stop people from going into buildings and double clearing them. If you want to be if you really want me to, I could put some spray paint in the box, so you can actually spray paint the buildings. You can actually do that.
I like carry one spray paint usually.
I'll do that from now on. So yeah, so you can spray paint buildings, the doors as well, just so people are definitely aware that we've cleared this building. But yeah, thing here, the most important thing are these waypoint markers. I advise squad leaders and platoon leaders to do them because they are extremely useful. I saw them used during that attack on Saigon. It looked beautiful, the map, and I think it did actually help with the movement and the cooperation of troops on the ground. So any questions, before we go and do the final mission, any questions?
How do I rotate map markers? Like this, hang on.
If you double click on the map, there's a bar that says direction.
Direction, yeah.
Oh, I see.
So any questions before we go and do the
Yay.
final mission?
That's an Ace feature, it's not in base game.
Right, then you can't do it in base game. There you go.
So, one final thing before I send you off. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock, so an hour after we normally start, Once and Before have invited us once more to one of their games. I believe it's
100% going to that now.
Here. Please send me a message. I'm going to take I'm only going to take 8 guys, including myself. Please message me on Discord, and I'll get it down. It is first come first serve up to 8. I'm not going to take any more just because I don't want to spam.
That's my name already sent. So.
And to join the 174th in their own game.
I was
There's also a chance that they may join us for the Berlin Wall 1, so that'll be quite nice.
Is that midnight GMT, Donkey?
Midnight GMT, but it does end at the same time ours one ends. So there's only 2 hours long, ours is 3 hours long.
Okay.
Mods?
I will get the thing for it tonight. I believe Zombies and Demons is a part of their one tonight, so apparently we're doing the zombie thing. So, one more thing. After this is done, I'm not going to have his RTB. I'll just pop over, I'll say something, and then I'll cut off. If you want to leave at that point, you're more than welcome to. What we're going to do afterwards, though, is in the terminal car park, I'm going to put a bunch of sport cars down. I'm going to put a map marker on a major town, and we're going to have the furball run, as I'm now going to call it, where you race down one of these yellow main roads to get to wherever you need to go. So actually going on to the main mission, I'm going to try and give you. I've tried to give you something, an objective that covers a lot of the things you've learned. So at this point, I want you to dismount sort of around where that RP point is. So you're going to push into town using your bounding, using your radio protocols, and push into town. At that point, you're then going to move into your CQP training, and you're going to look for a AAF officer that has been captured by FIA rebels in one of these buildings that are marked. You don't have to sweep and clear the entire town, but he is in one of these buildings. Be advised, there is also civilians in the area. I would suggest carrying some frag grenades, some smoke grenades, posting up an ammo, going over your preparation as we sort of discussed at the start. So if you want to go and do that now, I'll give you, what time are we at? I'll give you 5 minutes, and then I will send you off in the commands with the platoon and whatever squad is leading on that one, and then the second squad in the second commands. Any questions?
Yeah.
Nope.
Someone say yeah?
The beer. Draft.
Right there, mate.
Okay. Can we even out
Jared
the squads?
brought me one.
Even them up, do what you need to do. At that point, get the squads lined up, and then from that, you can work on that. I'm handing over to Zuka.
One,
where's
fall
Zuka?
in.
Zuka.
Me,
Zuka, can we use a second? My voice is sore now. I've been talking for almost 2 hours. I'm going to hand it over to you now to do the preparation, the dishing out of medical equipment, the planning, getting the guys on the bus and going out. Your officer is wearing AFF officer uniform like what you're wearing. He'll be unarmed. I'll put a zip tie in one of the bags. I'll put a bunch of zip ties in because you can capture him and jump in the back of the truck. Is that fine?
Do I have a chance?
You can go ahead and do what you need to do then. Basically, yeah, there'll be one or two technicals in town. I'll also put an extra. Actually, no, you've got 2 long ranges. Okay, that's fine. And you've got a long range yourself. No, you don't. I'll get a long range for you.
No 7.62 ammo. I only have 3 mags after all the fucking training.
I'll just bring extra pistol mags. That's fine.
Zuka. The big green crate. I'll put the radio and the cable ties in.
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
Got your medical supplies.
It's a 210. I'm gonna figure out what radio they're in.
Behind Wolfgang here because I'm gonna be back and forth checking people out. So.
Madonna, what's your radio called? Just so clear. What's your radio called? Sorry to interrupt.
Radio?
What's your backpack called?
PCR.
No. The backpack radio.
Generally, you don't want to
carry PRC 155.
Right?
No,
you don't really care with refrigerated. As I was saying, that code for some reason.
That is not the right one.
I don't know where Kazulia went.
It's
Kazulia.
What's up?
Kazulia.
I'm gonna be right back.
Let's go back.
Actually, someone drag.
Gotta be right back in line.
Sharp, join Blue, please, and the rest of you, well, you seem ready, so I'm back in a second.
get this sorted in a moment. We still have to even out the squads. I just lost the team lead, so...
Should be next to the blue people, I'm not actually green. I honestly don't know, actually.
Don't get shanked by a minority. Please don't be a narcissistic.
I'll have...
Don't fucking...
I heard.
Don't jinx it.
So what's the radio frequency we're using?
Range 40, I'll take 42. Hawk Squad can take 44.
I'll teleport you out. Just
Take 44 for close range.
0, 1.
Good. I'm gonna be honest.
Sparrow, because fuck these goddamn names. I hate the Sierra because they both sound identical.
I'm gonna go to normal talking. So
yeah, we'll be squad 2 basically.
42.
44.
40 will be platoon long range. Alright?
I don't know what the long range frequency is.
Fine Kyrnz?
God, I don't know.
In 1 minute.
User left your channel. User joined your channel. User left your channel.
Because you're going to be walking down, I'll go brief the others. So if you are in Sparrow, set your short... Lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
If you're in Sparrow, set your short range to 44. 44.
Alright, we are set.
The long range is 40.
And set your long range to 42.
Check.
Short range
42. What's the short range?
Loud and clear.
User joined your channel.
This is Sparrow radio check.
Everyone here's Sierra 1 is going to go to 42.
Anybody who's in Sparrow, my lot, they're 44 for short range.
You...
Sparrow radio platoon.
Yes, your radio is stuck open. Spawn. Respawn.
User left your channel.
Or I'll break your legs.
This is Sierra. Are we red?
I shoot civilians. Don't think I won.
I'm going.
Force civilians into minefields.
That wasn't made of fun.
If you see that Vietnamese guy again.
No, I was saying, are we red?
I just
Can
love
you go to blue, please?
Yeah, 40 long range, short range is 42 for Sierra.
Okay.
Can
Alright.
have you as green.
The backwards twice.
Clap.
Wait, no, you're... Yeah. I know, yeah, that's fine.
Sierra, radio check.
Check.
Affirm.
Who's my machine gunner?
Radio check.
You want it not on speaker.
I'll put it on speaker. Or, well, don't put it on speaker now, however, when we get separated from the other squad.
User joined your channel.
Could you switch to blue, please?
Are there any equipment concerns
No,
you
my
want?
team. My lot's lined up.
User left your channel.
He's going off to shoot a minority in his garden.
User left your channel.
Once you're back, just message
User
me.
left your channel.
I'm going to be around to talk probably. I'll just teleport you over to Gale, since that's what I said. Well, he said there was
noises coming outside.
So what's the interesting noise? Like, what's it sound like exactly?
It sounds like someone, you know, bolt cutters.
Oh god, yeah, go and shoot them. That does sound a little bit dodgy.
I'm gonna go get my gun. My father has it, so I'll be back in a few.
Yeah, please don't get shot. Yes.
User joined your channel.
Just a sweep and clear objective, right, Kyrnz?
perfectly fine, man. Take your time. I suggest you've got 4 minutes to really get yourself on the move, because then got about half an hour
User
maybe to
left
get our
your
mission done.
channel.
I'm handing over to you now at this point. Just take initiative, take control.
And Sparrow, just making sure I'm on the right channel.
You're on the right channel, Hog.
Everyone in Sierra, in the order of the Shack Tack Hug, sound off by name, please. Starting with Dare.
User joined your channel.
I can't spell your name. Happened to the line.
Did you say Quill, sorry?
I said you're on the wrong channel.
What do you mean I'm on the wrong channel?
I'm gonna miss a column behind column.
Right, okay. Just don't do that to me, okay?
Reply to you on the... Are those buildings moving closer to us?
Either of you... Did either of you hear us on the radio?
Stare at them, don't they?
I can hear you.
Is our radio
User joined your channel. User left your channel.
42. Yes, we
Got
just
shit.
organized our
Okay.
group
You're
for
in
team,
again now,
so it's
so.
understandable. It's on the map.
User joined your channel.
No.
Wow, yeah, that is so
No.
loud.
Just gonna line back up here.
Hi, welcome to...
Wait, do I have enough people for a fucking fire team again?
Beginning, Shiro goes.
Once your guys are all set up and lined up, we'll find out and we'll organise.
We're set up.
When you guys are ready, just go
I'm
ahead
ready.
and line back up, Sierra 1.
Should we jump in the truck and...
Oh no.
Oh god, this is gonna end well.
Moving information never was that hard.
Okay.
User left your channel.
That's the reason why I went left.
How did it go on longer than
Up.
anticipated?
Fuck.
It's already 1:30 and we haven't even started.
I don't know
yet.
what's seeing all these fucking cars.
The cars have been spawned.
Okay, Donk seems
We
to
ready?
have given up on the idea
I think we are.
of doing the...
Yeah, we're ready.
You're doing it, don't worry.
Sierra
don't worry.
1, we are collapsing into a...
No, you're doing it, don't worry. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Follow me.
Don't worry, you're doing it.
Okay.
Where's the... I'm confused.
Alright, Sierra 1, we are all collapsing into a single unit. Other than fire teams, because we don't have enough people for fire teams.
Wonder how long it takes until the lightning comes down.
Don't worry, Draggy, feel free to take the initiative. Correct's not here. He's not going to be here for most of the mission, probably, and I'm going to have my hands full trying to get us anywhere, so... Sierra 1, prepare to move. For 1 move. Staggered column.
Move.
User joined your channel.
Pets move, stagger column.
To call it,
Fire
call it,
leading.
Going.
cut fire.
Overhead me. Follow the road.
Oh, the person
Just
off
keep
the
going.
hawk.
Who's to the right, and then you stagger backwards, yep. Right, Sparrow move.
This is a message to all men. Passing in line if possible to all squads. Don't worry about getting annoyed if something goes wrong and there's a wee about it. This is just training the grand scheme of things. Did you hear me?
I'll be back, just...
I'm mostly okay.
Come on.
User left your channel.
Okay, hold tight while Sierra run past us.
Go ahead and
Let's move. Follow me. Stag.
Please walk with this opportunity.
I move out.
Sorry about that slow response, Kyrnz.
Back to the back and
I was kind of dumb.
For them to go through in the stagger.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn left once we get to the end of the road. Right, you're not in my squad, why am I double timing?
Double timing to catch up.
I don't know what's worse. Keep going.
User left your channel.
Go.
Army. Gonna keep you guys in front. Draggy, you have a team now, by the way.
WAAF.
Well, we're certainly playing the role, that's for sure.
So everyone take note of.
User joined your channel.
Somebody keeping that.
What? We get all of the CSAT tanks then.
Oh, this is AAF before they
Kinda.
like made a deal with the devil.
But I don't know what's worse, the fact that we went the wrong way, or the fact that you guys let me lead you the wrong way.
We thought you know which way you were going. You know, you're meant to know
disobey your
these
superiors.
I'm blind, though.
When the tank DLC wants to come out, I really want to use the AAF tank, so
you're not blind enough to not
may
be
try
able
and
to
do
do
an
that.
AAF mission.
Sorry.
Here's the thing,
Say
I
that,
would happily lead an AAF mission, because then it's going to be bungling and incompetent, just like the AAF themselves. So, are you sure you know which way you're going this time?
I do.
Good.
Absolutely sure now, because I have the magic of modern technology.
There is a choke point where I would personally put a claymore.
Alright, yeah.
Main service road.
I thought that was just a technical term for HESCO.
So that's what M stands for. I'm fucking retarded.
That's what I thought.
So when people say M
Around here we call this a highway.
Because it's got A roads, don't you?
Really? It's like an A road, tops.
Well, no, I'm trying to.
I mean, it's two lanes. It's a highway.
Dirt, but like, you know, A roads.
It's got the thing. A thing what you drive tanks down.
This yellow on the map. It's a national road.
This is a B road at best.
It's yellow
We're
on the
gonna
map.
go ahead and
which
buy
means
this
it's a national
thing
road.
here.
I just see that I'm the only person of blue team here. Oh wait, Chance back there.
Chance, he's behind all the way.
Vines, yeah, you go left.
Yeah, we're turning left there, guys.
We are turning left at the dirt offshoot from that main road. Northwestward.
Well, if we get the whole passing back and forth shit going, that'll actually be pretty good. We wouldn't need radio. That way, when someone actually uses this in an emergency.
It's a fair point, actually.
Watch your spacing, gentlemen.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
Affirm that.
I know I need to turn her off again.
How am I running faster than you?
Turn off what?
Hit double C, so I'm technically on a slow job.
Well, so am I.
This is the thing, like I have not been able to keep pace sometimes. When people say, oh, you just need to press double C and have your weapon lowered, and it's like, but I'm doing that, and I'm still catching up to people, so is it a function of equipment load?
Might be.
Just that, if you're carrying more gear, you get slower.
Yeah, so it's also a function of, that's really annoying.
Keeps dropping back, so I now have to drop back.
Roger.
Hawk, he wants us to split off to the warehouse on the right side.
House on the right hand side.
Yeah, should I have the radio on speaker?
Be a good idea, but yes.
I mean, he's literally
we're
right
heading
behind us, and I can hear him.
towards that warehouse over there. To secure it, form a 360-degree perimeter, etc., etc.
Go ahead and tell them we've reached the platoon RP.
We have reached that Well, we reached where we need to reach. This is Sierra.
Draggy, get on it. Everybody else
Affirm
looks
that.
follow them up. Clear the house to the north. Get on it. And green is gonna cover.
Okay.
Bunch up, spread out, spread out. There's a platoon around us.
Roger that. You want us to get eyes on the town proper from our position?
Building is clear.
Building's clear and we're currently holding position. Alright.
Platoon, this is Sparrow.
Sierra, go ahead and grab us grab the perimeter around this house, please. We wait for command.
Platoon, this is Sparrow, come in.
Go ahead, Sparrow.
We've secured the warehouse area and we've got some guys reconning the town now.
You're moving an element into the town?
We've got a marksman with a sniper rifle on a hill.
Copy.
So you want us to get moving?
Roger that, we can see them, platoon.
You are.
Down the way up to the town that way.
Roger that, I'll pass that on.
Did you get that?
I think so. Alright.
Gonna bound up along our markers.
Sierra, let's move to the Sierra 1 mark.
Platoon wants us to go ahead and advance along with, but not ahead of Sparrow.
For clarification, Sparrow will be moving first.
Affirm.
This is
Wants us to move
this is from the 1 marker, right?
to the marker.
Clear platoon, stand by, we're getting organised.
Sierra, let's go ahead and move up to this next building. Because I think it might be a favorable position to watch over Sierra 1, because we can't see him from this compound. Cover that corner.
Sparrow here, go ahead.
Are there any doors on this side? That side?
We've got no activity out there, we're also ready to move. Roger that. Okay, we're moving up.
Affirm.
In position. And just tell him that the copy is shoots you, you'll have a reason to scream at him. You'll have even more reason to scream at him, actually. Peggy, when the platoon calls in, you're going to be the one leading us off, so just make sure you're ready. And the rest of us will follow behind them. You have a marksman. No one said anything, so yeah, just go ahead and advise them we don't have a marksman to actually get up there.
We do not have a marksman platoon.
Who's our MG? Vitter, is that you? Get up on that building. The next best thing. Vitter, the one that you're standing. Yeah.
Platoon, this is Sparrow. We've secured building 1.
That should be fine, yeah.
That should be fine. We are ready to move on your mark.
Vitter, you're comfortable sitting here? You're saying things, I can't hear you.
Firm. We are just going ahead and organizing here.
Can you hear?
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
He's saying things. Good. Alright, fun. Alright, let's, Draggy, go ahead and lead us off. Or one marker. We're red. And we're gonna follow a few paces behind them. And Kyrnz. Apparently our machine gunner can't hear us. We can't hear him, so don't mind being up there.
Roger that.
User disconnected from your channel. User joined your channel.
Oh, wait. We copy and we're moving up along with Sparrow.
Platoon, this is Sparrow. We have potential contact. We believe it's civilian. We can also see an ambulance in the middle of town.
We have received fire, Platoon. This is Sierra.
Sierra has not received fire. Oh shit, never mind, Sierra has received fire.
Platoon, this is Sparrow. We're taking fire from the north-northwest. We have technicals.
Looks down. Oh. Blue team got wounded.
Okay, Sparrow is attempting to advance to building 3 because they've got better fortifications there.
You're in Sierra in this area.
Anyone in blue team is not wounded on me.
One here in Sierra, go ahead and just... Oh shit, alright. Hi.
Is it going to that walled area? Head straight. No, the walls are across the street.
Yes.
Behind hard camp.
Just what was too bad.
Drone, I guess. Madrona, go ahead and ask Command for some reports.
Command, can we get some earplugs here? We apparently have managed to lose them. This is Sierra, by the way. Cut out. I believe two.
Can't open it. Oh wait, there it goes. Go ahead and advance when you're ready.
Platoon, this is Sierra. We're holding at position 3.
You're Sparrow.
Is Sierra... What? What the fuck say? Quill say?
Sparrow, you are Sparrow. We are Sierra.
Did I just use the wrong word?
Affirm.
Apologies, apparently I'm just that tired.
On the thing that just shot at us, please.
Roger.
Here, we're gonna fall back slightly behind this doomed building to keep it between us and the cooking off people there.
Sierra is falling back slightly out of being able to cover. We're getting away from the exploding vehicle.
Just falling behind this building and linking up the thing to keep the building between us, is that not? Draggy, go. Stop for me.
This is Sierra. We are advancing along Sparrow's path.
Sparrow is pushing up.
How's Sparrow doing over there? You gonna be alright?
I am basically paralyzed. I don't know why, but that particular smoke screen is destroying me.
Could you repeat that? I was not able to respond or really understand. There was technical difficulty.
Jonah,
Painkillers too, or are you fine?
Madrona, get on this building here. Stack up on this building and break in. Follow in behind you guys.
The what?
A little. Okay, yes, we copy.
Okay,
we copy.
This is Sparrow to Sierra, Sparrow to platoon rather.
Greg, you're gonna grab the rest. Cover us while we move across, and then you'll cross. Green, let's go.
Platoon, this is Sparrow. We've cleared the first objective. I don't know if you copied. Roger, well, I guess you copied this time then.
No, they're not. Draggy, let's go. Blue, let's go.
Go. Decided we'll meet up with those two.
Lil and I think Draggy. Radio? No, it didn't. Yeah. You'll be breaching guns only. We're gonna keep moving east to where, to follow after fucking Sparrow. Here you go.
Platoon, this is Sparrow. Do you want which objective do you want us securing? Roger that.
Copy. Can copy.
We copy.
You copy. Sorry. Apparently not going this way. Sierra, we're gonna head this way.
Team prep to move.
Team prep to move.
Quill, would you like to inform platoon that we're going to be moving to the church, then dropping down to 2, just to make sure it's completely clear?
Platoon, this is Sparrow. There were hostiles in the church, so we're going to go north to secure the church and then flank down onto objective 2.
Cover down the road. Get someone cover down the road.
Directly west is basically where you have to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Roger.
trying to get us to do, and then we're gonna end up moving out.
Blue, move
Left flank.
Check fire. There's friendlies in the area.
Roger that.
Stay prepared to move. I want
Roger that.
Alright, Blue, let's go down the alleyway. Off to our, apparently northwest. I'm the entrances to the buildings. Don't bother clearing the buildings, just keep going. The objective.
Keep moving, red support.
We are outside of objective 1. We've received contact. The contact is eliminated. We are going to enter. This is Sierra.
Wolf share regroup in the church.
Alright, once green's across, prepare to move, Red.
Again, rules are we should stay.
Roger that.
Alright, red team, move. Red team, move.
Yeah. Link up on me.
Reds to the church.
Sierra is entering objective 1.
Okay, yeah, this is Power. The church is clear.
That building right behind you, is that been cleared?
Church.
In the window.
Uh,
Up in the window.
south,
Hit that window.
down.
Field of fire. Blues, if you can move around objective building.
Blue team prepared to move.
Still in the window. Dead.
Southwest.
Go on.
Right, eyes on the window.
I'll put the one in front of me.
And now he's dead.
Nice shot.
I really hope I
Check
didn't
every
shoot
corner.
there.
Ignore that.
This is hilarious.
For sure. And I'm lagging. Hey, someone check southeast while the rest wash down here northwest.
I've got southeast.
Just gonna go confirm I didn't kill Gale.
Oh, did we shoot Gale?
Possibly.
Covering north.
Covering west.
This is Sierra. We have confirmed the VIP.
Friendly. Friendly.
We are inside. Objective 1. We have the VIP secured and surrendered.
Ballistic glasses on.
Say what?
I found a civilian with ballistic glasses.
Oh, okay.
Blue team check your ammo reload.
Okay, it looks like
Red, do the
Sierra
same.
found the objective.
We're gonna exit the...
It's fine.
Getting ready to
Just
exit.
keep an eye down there.
We're up the rear, guys.
Roger that.
Yeah, we're taking up the rear. They found them in objective 1.
Understood. Taking up the rear.
Sierra confirmed.
Say again, platoon.
Okay,
Roger that.
Kyrnz wants us to rally up at point 3.
we're going back to yellow 3, guys. So move carefully. This is enemy territory, so make sure you don't shoot any friendlies, and you know.
Can we spread out a little and not clog up this
team form up,
please? Thank you.
So blue team ahead, red team behind me.
Trying to get back.
Copy.
Double
Red
back.
team form up and move up behind green.
Double back. Double back.
That red.
Adriana, what did Clan want us to do? They want us to follow.
Link up at waypoint 3.
Okay, so blue lead the way to yellow 3, green follow, and red take up the lead. Up the rear.
Blue team on me. Don't get behind.
Right. Red team on me. They're taking up the rear.
Blue? Correct. Radio broke.
Press.
Order. We've got the APT way up.
What is
Heads up, orders.
Let's get through to the buildings, get in the buildings.
Get in the buildings.
So fire is not fun.
Adriana, can you get me a platoon to confirm the new LZ mark?
Are we off?
LZ mark.
We off.
Yeah, no, that seems. It seems it was just a
Platoon,
single shell.
confirm on LZ Hyena.
Blue team regroup on me.
Yes, follow me. We're not going for objective 3, we're going for yellow.
Blue, green,
Affirm.
from the buildings and get ready. And
Red
proceed
push
to
across the street.
Draggy, you're leading.
Sure. Hold.
Hold.
We are moving to LZ Hyena. It is confirmed.
We are moving to LZ.
So I always end up at the front of the formation, guys.
So, do you want us to take the lead or follow the rear?
Shoot this guy.
Okay, Roger. They want us to take the rear with behind the VIP, so I guess we're waiting for you guys to go past us.
Yeah, they're going past now.
Doing the bounding then?
Okay, Sparrow.
Oh, we're leading, they're following. We're exiting the town.
My ass is being covered going across this road though.
Ass is going to be covered, don't worry.
I'm on you,
Go.
clear.
You cover the rear.
I trust you guys watching my butt. I'll still watch my own butt. Thank you. Very good at walking backwards.
Corona, we're still heading towards the, we're still heading towards 3, right? Still heading towards waypoint 3, right? Corona.
Sparrow seems to be receiving fire. We are pulling it.
Corona.
Yeah, we're receiving fire as well.
We're heading towards the waypoint.
Going towards LZ Hyena.
Right, alright. Sorry, hold up.
Roger that.
We are at LZ Hyena. We are bringing the VIP aboard the helicopter.
Red cover.
Blue team move.
roger that. I'll pass that on.
Affirm.
Okay, I recommend we head back to RV3. Sierra, this is Sparrow. We're going to fall back to RV3 if you want to follow behind us. Sierra, if you can't tell, there's another Merlin coming in for us.
We have a new extraction coming.
This is Regiment, be advised, second extract en route is carrying explosive charges to rig, first Merlin to blow. Cannot allow it hard work to be captured by enemy. How copy?
Okay, we gotta blow up the second chopper. Okay, Regiment, if you could wait until we've secured the area before sending in yet another chopper, that'd be great.
This is Regimental to all units, ignore the blowing up order, just men back up.
Firm.
Okay, Sparrow's mounted up. Sparrow's mounted up already. Yeah, Sierra, that's GTFO.
Aw, I was getting attached to him.
Sparrow, line up behind me.
Need to bash my head with this.
Safety's on.
Bandage my first.
CR1, fall in. CR1, fall in. I'm stuck leaning. Okay, maybe I'm not stuck leaning. Maybe I just look weird.
You look like you're doing a dance move, because there we go.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, it was really fucking weird.
Apologies, medical system wasn't set up as the way I thought it was, which is kind of shit.
Sure, it's double tap control to lower your gun.
Because of that, obviously, likewise, the response system didn't work as well as it did. Although, considering the circumstances, the losses were a lot lower than what I expected. So, good job.
I want confirmation on this little feud between me and Colum.
Alright, okay.
Because he thinks we were way too slow getting into the helicopter. I was trying to organize people in.
The second that helicopter touches down, people should be getting on it and leaving.
People were getting on it, and we were boarding as soon as the rest of the Sierra team went. For the second helo, yes, Hawk had to remind me. He told me I'm the one planning the charge. I was like, oh shit, and then I started ordering people in.
Tell you what happened, because nobody told me what your frequency was, I wasn't too sure, because I remember people talking about changing it, and that's the last thing I heard. My voice hurted a little bit as well, and I wasn't really focusing too much on what yous were doing, because my throat hurts. I've been talking for 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours now. So I handed it over to Zuka, and then once I got in there, I realised, well, it's going to be kind of shit having you guys walk out with an escort and a prisoner that you can't run with, I don't think. Unless you can, then.
Oh, you can run with him.
Ah, right, okay, I wish I'd known that, to be honest. I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll fly a helicopter. At the same time, though, I'd spawned about 2, 4, 6, 8, about 10 extra FIA guys once you'd captured them to go and counterattack. And they took a little while getting there to begin with, and they conveniently arrived when the helicopter touched down. So just shitty circumstances. Although your response was very quick to it, you all dismounted, engaged, and destroyed them within less than 30 seconds.
We were being attacked by the FIA before that. It's just that we were ordered to get on the helicopter. What happened? We were under attack, right?
Yeah.
We were ordered to mount up with the helicopter while we were under attack. After we put the VIP on board.
Yeah.
So basically, we were under constant attack, and the helicopter was shot up too much.
Yeah, that was quite brutal. I noticed you were the one that got fucking picked. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had a beret on because I died twice instantly to headshots. They hit me once and I just dropped.
That's why I wear berets, because the helmet does jack shit.
Overall,
okay, so basically you were
like the person in charge is dead thing.
All I want to say though,
I thought you killed yourself on
Prove it
purpose.
doesn't stop bullets as well.
So overall, obviously being as this, I can't see exactly what's going on for sure. Can I just say, overall, I didn't get any screenshots this time. Wasn't really focused on that. I'll say, feel like you've learned something. That's the most important thing. Do you feel like you've improved on things that you already knew, and you're more comfortable with the things that you now already kind of knew?
A lot of that pepper potting stuff at the end actually was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Did you get to practice everything?
I got to hear a radio report saying platoon lead says we look fucking amazing when I was doing reverse bounding to get to the choppers.
I actually noticed that myself, so a good touch up on that. Also, your CQP was quite spot on as well. Just remember the map markers when it comes to cleaning buildings and marking them on the map.
Yeah, our blue team guys like freaking slaughtered our way through that town. That was amazing.
One more thing, no, two more things. As I've mentioned, I'll say it again. Tomorrow, 174 invited us over for their zombie mission thing. I need 8 people. I've already got a few people on names, but if you're interested, please message me tonight and I'll try and get the mod pack to you tonight or tomorrow. We're probably going to have most, if not all, the things they use. The only thing I will say, they don't use the shack tax, so yeah.
No.
Last but not least, you can disconnect now if you want. However, if you want to stay around for Le Grand Prix, please step to the right.
Can I just quickly...
What is that?
Just quickly
on a personal note.
Let's go over here one moment.
You possessing people that were attacking Sierra at some point? Because they behaved
Say you
really
doing
weird.
alright, Draggy?
No,
I did notice though that sometimes when you moved, your scheme just didn't follow you.
Right, if you don't want to do the Grand Prix, you're free to disconnect right now. But if not, I'm going to teleport people. Yeah.
You're in trouble
Yep.
now.
Desperate yet.
I want to disconnect
I
myself
just want to say
quickly
one
follow
thing. Please
Quill
don't set up
and
a shit ton of
Kyrnz.
roadblocks like last time.
Okay, break. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teleport everybody over. Quill can grab Hawk. Hawk can grab Quill and Racy thing. Once we're all over, I'm going to explain the rules. So please don't jump into the vehicles just yet.
Guz, help. Guz.
I are being teleported.
Okay, boys. It's fine.
Look, I need to fix...
User left your channel. User disconnected from your channel. User left your channel.
But part of the assault you were trying to get yourself killed.
We'll have to ruminate a bit and then prove it.
Actually got a bomb, so have a good one.
British officers don't do
Too bad.
Oh, I thought you said that
Honestly,
you were
you weren't
trying to
that
get
bad,
yourself
Kyrnz. You're fine.
User left your channel.
Bye, guys. I don't know.
Bye.
Iron has to talk a bit more about it than normal.
I think the only problem was at the end where you said we should follow up the rear, but we weren't on the same axis of advance as the other guys, so it was like we were following the rear of...
They went to the
User
left side of the
disconnected
house,
from your channel.
and they went to the right. And I gave the move out order like 3 times to get us moving, and it didn't happen until the 3rd time.
hit Windows key.
Then
you can,
we
like,
massacred our way
You're
through.
okay. Spelling them out for me,
You
but I don't know if
couldn't
that's
have
anybody
gone
else.
wrong, really.
Tap.
My web was barking.
Okay, you get like an interactive menu for like.
Draggy got shot, and I got shot.
Yeah, you'd be better off going to
Me.
this slightly further away from you.
Got shot and killed in the early.
You were running around and watching a lot. How do you think I did?
Okay.
How successfully saved us twice from
Okay.
flames. I feel pretty
Feel a lot
happy
better than
about
you got
that.
before, certainly.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We only got
excuse
2
me.
kills in that entire
Wait.
mission, both from which is me
I've
instantly
done-
lining up a headshot.
Because we've only got half an hour left, I'll let who the last people jump off. I'm sure it's just Hawk at this point. I don't
I'm
think
just
anyone
going
else
to say
is.
goodbye. Thank you
No
very much
worries.
for doing this, Donk. It
No
was nice. It was
worries.
nice doing this with you all.
Okay. Everyone else gather around and I'll go through the Jeremy Clarkson style Grand Prix across.
User left your channel.
So look on the map. You'll notice there is a big long line.
They hit kills.
Yep. Where the fuck's Maku? Maku, you joining us?
He's up there. He's just he's sorting out his friend to.
Okay.
the game.
Fill the cars in from the front to the back. I'm going to fire the pistol at that point. If you look at the map, you're going from the dots over here, following the main road into Cavallo, where there is actually a finish line. First person across wins. Second place and a third place. At that point, I'll end. You don't have a GPS. I don't. Well, you should. You'll built in the car. If you die and you respawn, I suppose there might be spare cars for you if you want to try. If not, you're free to disconnect. Jump in the cars, get yourself set up. I'll fire the gun. The team up. You're more than welcome.
Well, I'm getting in this car then.
I should have started.
I'm getting in a better car.
Since last time we teamed up, you shot me in the head. Fine, apparently I have a passenger, so is it?
Yeah, I'm here to give you wisdom.
Okay.
I was on the right side of the
I'm gonna.
I'm already in one.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna on the firing of the guns when you go off. I'm just gonna make sure if Maku's joining us or not.
The clothing channel is here.
The first one's left, the
Fuck
second
it.
one's right.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Someone's gonna
Help!
Oh, fuck you too. What's that car, by the way? What's that car, by the way?
It's awful.
No, I was talking to Kyrnz. Because he jacked my car, but it was fucked up anyway.
Okay, I aim.
Hello. No, donkey spawned, like, moved the vehicle on top of you to try and... I don't.
Oh, I'm not here. Never gets old. This never gets old. One day I want to actually.
Slow and see, the thing is, slow and steady wins the race. If you're careful in the corners rather than just flooring it, you win. Come on, vault up. Vault. You use the advanced vault.
One day I really want to grab a bunch of like car mods and actually have like a rally.
Can you make it beautiful? Edge forward a bit so you actually send it.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be third then?
Everyone's taking it really slowly now. Fucking.
No, because the thing is, when they just fly off, they go absolutely. They go everywhere.
A dedication to Quill. Quill doesn't have any wheels. I think he only has like 2 wheels in his car, and he's just been going slow and steady across to. Very nice. That's nice of you, actually. To be fair, I think you'll get there in time.
Just sit here, Kyrnz. No,
there in time.
He's gonna get here in time. You'll be fine.
I mean,
It's just he's gonna win.
no. Nope. You're now disqualified. Yeah, that's... fair enough. I'm gonna teleport him back over though. Shoot each other, you bastards.
Bastard.
Oh, I feel bad. I'm worried about Quill. Keurig is getting really close.
I'm aiming
and
this way.
Quill's...
Jesus.
Oh, I really want Quill to win, but I'm worried that Kyrnz actually just gonna overtake him at the last moment. That would really make me sad. He's coming into town now. I think he is gonna. Oh yeah, no, he's gonna get here in time.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, actually, oh god, this is gonna be close. No, Quill's got it. I'm pretty confident, unless he like screws up somehow.
There's Quill.
It's Quill.
I'm expecting Kyrnz to fly around the corner now.
It's literally.
It's crashed it.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Quill. There you go. Dead. Oh shit, he's coming in like mama. I think he's fine. I think he's just ragdolled. Oh no, if you don't teleport this to the ground. Quit. You monster. You monster. Let's go.
Oh, it's because you killed one of the podiums. Hang on.
Step by. Oh.
Okay. Let's get these guys up on the podium then. Let's get you facing the front. Oh yeah, they're in position.
Place. I could have sworn I got her second. Were you both in the same vehicle?
No, I was in my own. I had to be the last one.
Wait, Colin must have been in the lead all along then.
Yeah, I was in the vehicle that I started with and just basically took it nice and slow, nice and easy.
Well, I took my crippled car all the way here.
You
I'll
did,
get...
donkey. Donkey was rooting for you, that's for sure.
Okay, boys, I'm gonna get a nice picture of you. Say cheese.
Actually, no, even better. Everyone's salute. Yeah.
Okay, maybe quick. So look up to the sky. That was it.
Where's Dom? Where's Dom? Oh. Called in a fucking airstrike on us, he deserves death.
Kieran wants to be a doctor.
God. I can't teach medical in this that well, because we're missing the... It's not on S. It's not on advanced.
Okay.
Basically what advanced is what we use.
Plus my fucking tactical fedora.
Oh.
So known as the Marina. And the way you went... No, I stopped to take off my bloody thingy. Night vision. Yeah, done that before. To be fair, I would always enter them to the tubes. Sports car thing. Give us a tank helicopter. Either way.
A tank helicopter.
Open my mouth. Oh my fucking god. Oh. But you know that I'm alive.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
What was that?
Oh yeah.
must learn not to look, I must shut up when you guys die, and I start giggling, saying I'm alive. Oh. All I hear is this whoosh. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
He said,
I'm
look at
hiding
the
under
sky.
bridge.
He was like, look at the sky, and then he took a photo and called in a fucking airstrike.
Somehow I survived. I don't know, but then I got completely hellfire missiled from I don't know where by like 7.
And you're when you go to the.
I might as well.
Yeah, go on.
How is it speed?
Yeah, we'll set speed then.
What is setting speed again?
One second, so I have to do first.
Welcome to the people who finished the race channel. Oh no, that's just horrible. Colin.
Okay, I've got mine set to 82.
It's really tricky to set it. Yeah, but trying to get to an exact speed. Yeah, you don't mind.
Just be
Roadblock.
There's always a roadblock.
User disconnected from your channel.
But at least I got the
I'm gonna play
basics.
dead.
Yep. If you want to join tomorrow for Liberation, we can get you more.
Kirk, I'm gonna need to pick up.
And maybe we'll sum up too.
I'm playing dead as well. Where
Hang
are
on,
you?
sorry.
I played dead by driving
Arma's
into a
being
lamppost and might
laggy.
have hurt myself quite badly.
Don't.
I'm
What were
having
you
fun
saying,
with your
Zero?
connection. Are you always laggy or what?
No, it's because I'm thinking.
User left your channel. User left your channel.
Yeah, no worries. Really?
What the fuck? Oh, you want a bitch?
User disconnected from your channel. User left your channel. User joined your channel.
Hey guys.
User left your channel.
Column? I thought Column was first. Yeah. Yeah, I was third. Yeah. I think all the cars, we ran out of cars.
No, I just respawned because I got stranded almost near the end of the point because Gale shot up all my car, or like all of my.
User left
She
your
shot up
channel.
all my tires.
Should we move into the lobby?
User left your channel.
Oh, I'm leaving. I think everybody's probably done.
User left your channel. User left your channel. Channel switched.
See, I'm not awake enough to participate, but sometimes I hear things that make me wish I had.
Oh,